The universe has always carried secrets in silence, but sometimes silence trembles. When black hole collides, they send ripples across space-time. Gravitational wave that race through the cosmos like a faint echo of creation itself. For decades, these waves were thought to be mere messenger of cosmic violence. Yet now, the hidden within their rhythm, scientists believe that they may have uncovered something far more profound and the elusive fingerprint of dark matter. Dark matter, the invisible weight that binds galaxies together, has long been the phantom of physics, felt but never seen, and in theory never touched. And now that through the subtle distortion in space-time music, it may finally be whispering its presence. Imagine the cosmos itself humming within the hidden chorus, a song carried not by the light but by gravity's most delicate thread. And that is the story unfolding today, the possibility that the gravitational waves are not just echoes of collisions, but for the first time, the audible clues to the shadowing substance that shape our universe. So let's find out more. In the vast silence of cosmos, there are whispers too faint for human ear, yet powerful enough to reshape our understanding of reality. Among these whispers are gravitational waves, ripple in space-time born from the violent collisions of black holes and neutron stars. For years, the scientists have listened to these waves as a messenger of cataclysm of event, but now they may be carrying a deeper secret and evidence of dark matter itself. So, going forward, the dark matter has long been the phantom of physics. It does not shine, it does not absorb, it does not scatter light. It is invisible, detectable only through its gravitational pull on galaxies and clusters. We know its existence because the cosmos behave as if the weight down by an unseen mass. Yet, despite decades of searching, no particle detectors has captured it. No telescope has revealed its glow, and it has remained in a shadow, elusive and untouchable. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, going forward about these waves, but gravitational waves offer a new lens. When two black hole spiral together and merge, the wave that they emit carry the imprint of everything in their environment. If the dark matter surrounds them, if it pools in the halos or the clumps near their event horizons, its presence subtly alter the rhythm of the collision. The wave stretch differently and the frequency shift. The echoes linger longer than expected. These deviations are faint, buried in noise, but with the sensitive detectors like Virgo and Kagra, the scientists are beginning to tease them, listen them, and bring the information out. Recent analysis suggests that some recorded signals cannot be explained by ordinary physics alone. The pattern hint at an invisible partner tugging at the dance of a black hole and dark matter interacting not through the light but through the gravity's most delicate thread. Imagine two massive black holes colliding and their spiral slowed ever so lightly by the halo of unseen particles. And the resulting wave carries that story across the billions of light years and arriving at Earth as a faint tremor in space-time. If confirmed, this would revolutionary. This will be definitely revolutionary. It would mean that the dark matter is not merely a passive backdrop, but an active participant in the cosmic drama. It would provide the first direct evidence of its distribution around compact objects, offering clues to its nature, whether it is made of exotic particles, primordial black holes, or something stranger still. And that we have to really find out. We have to look towards the physicists for their new findings. The implication ripple outward. Dark matter may influence how galaxies form, how stars die, and how the universe itself evolve. So, by mapping its fingerprints in gravitational waves, scientists could chart its hidden architecture, tracing the invisible presence upon which the cosmos is built. It is as if we are learning to read a secret language written into space-time itself. For the layperson, the idea is both haunting and very exciting. We live in a universe where most of the matter is unseen, yet it shapes everything we know. Now, through the faintest vibrations of space-time, we may finally be hearing its voice. So, dark matter, once silent, is actually beginning to speak through the music of colliding black holes. So, as detectors grow more sensitive and the data accumulates, the whisper will become clearer. Each new gravitational wave may carry another clue, another brush stroke in the portrait of invisible. And in that portrait lies the possibility of solving one of the greatest mysteries of modern science. And that is, what is a dark matter that binds the universe together? The journey is far from over, but the path has been illuminated. Gravitational waves are no longer just echoes of cosmic violence, they are the guides into unseen thread leading to us towards the shady heart of existence. The search for the dark matter has always been felt like chasing a shadow across the star. Yet now, through the faint tremors of space-time, the shadow begins to take form. The gravitational waves are no longer just echoes of cosmic collision. They are becoming the voice of invisible, the rhythm of unseen, and each ripple carries us closer to unveiling the hidden universe, and where the dark matter silently shapes galaxies, stars, and destiny of creation itself. Perhaps the greatest revelation is not that we are finally hearing the dark matter, but that the universe has been singing all along. We simply need to learn how to listen. So now we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, you might have heard about the latest acquisition by SpaceX, which is Elon Musk. Is SpaceX latest $60 billion move the secret to colonize the Mars? In a massive industry shifting announcement, Elon Musk SpaceX has secured an option to acquire Cursor, the world leader AI coding startup, for a staggering $60 billion. This deal isn't just about software, it's a strategic play to integrate Cursor's vibe coding AI with SpaceX's colossal supercomputer, the world's most powerful AI training cluster. In this video, we break down why Musk is betting $60 billion on AI and how this technology could be the missing link for Starship's autonomous system, deep space navigation, and the massive software infrastructure needed to build a city on Mars. Let's go. Hello friends, did you know that NASA is officially moving beyond the chemical rockets? In this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary nuclear thermal propulsion (NTP) technology that is set to slash travel time to Red Planet. Imagine a future where Mars isn't a grueling 7 months journey, but a weekend trip in comparison to everything we have known about the space exploration. Let us explore this further. So for 60 years, we have been stuck. Every time we look at Mars, we are staring at a 7 to 9 months commute between Earth and Mars. That isn't just a long time; it is dangerous time. Every day, every day in deep space is another day of the cosmic radiation, muscle atrophy, and the psychological toll of the isolation. But what if we could break that speed limit of space travel? What if we could treat the journey to the red planet not in months, not in years, but in few days, right? Like a weekend trip in comparison to the current tech. NASA has just officially crossed the Rubicon with the announcement of SR-1 Freedom and a roadmap of 2028. The era of chemical rocket is ending. Today we are looking at the nuclear engine that are finally turning science fiction into an interplanetary reality. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, moving on. To understand the future, we have to look at why we cannot reach at this point in time, and currently why it is slow. Our best rockets today are chemical combustion. We all know that liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. They are very powerful, but they are incredibly inefficient. Think of it like this. A chemical rocket is like a high performance dragster. It's a massive oomph at the start, but it burns through its fuel in minutes. Once you are in orbit, you are basically a glider. By switching to nuclear, we aren't just adding more fuel, we are doubling the energy we get out of every gram of the propellant. So how does a nuclear engine actually works? Unlike the nuclear power in a plant on Earth basically that makes electricity, a nuclear thermal rocket NTR is much more direct, and it has several components starting with core. We have a compact fission reactor using high assay low enriched uranium, right? And it then create energy, which then send it to the nozzle, etc. And therefore we have to talk about the propellant. We pump the liquid hydrogen through the white hot core reactor, and then it basically comes out of the other side at very high speed. So now we have to talk about expansion. In less than a second, the hydrogen goes from minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit to 5000 degrees Fahrenheit, which then creates a huge thrust. So now let's talk about this thrust. The superheated gas screams out of the nozzle at a speed no chemical fire could ever reach. This is the holy grail of the propulsion. It gives us the high thrust of a rocket with a very long-term efficiency of an electric drive. We are currently in the pivotal year. As of April 2026, the design is right now on the drawing table. However, there is a roadmap, and that is June 2026. The final hardware development begins, and the mission will be SR1. It's a design as a nuclear electric hybrid. It uses the reactor to generate massive amount of electricity, powering high efficiency thruster to basically increase the speed. And it can run for months. It can go for very long time. And what is the goal? The goal is a direct mass mission capability by 2028. This isn't just a lab experiment anymore. We are building the flight hardware right now. So when we say weekend trip, we are talking about relative transit time. By cutting the journey to Mars from 250 days down to 100 or even 60 days, we solve the two biggest threats to human life. Number one is radiation. Less time spent in the void, which is open space, lower the dose of the solar particles or any cosmic radiation. Number two is the abort capability. Nuclear engines allow us to turn around or change course. Well, in a chemical rocket, once you are on your path, you are committed. Nuclear gives the pilot a steering wheel. Our multi-planetary future, which is to the stars, will have, will always remain a dream if we do not have faster mode of transport. We just don't have the engine to reach them. Why, right? So if we want to go to other worlds, other stars, we need faster mode of transport. So with the breakthrough that we are going to see in 2026, the gap between Earth and Mars is finally closing. We are no longer limited by how much fire we can make. We are now limited only by our ambition to explore. So friends, we have come to the end of our discussion today. My name is CK and you are watching Akulmach. And if you want to stay on the cutting edge of the Artemis era and the nuclear revolution, hit that subscribe button. And the future is arriving faster than you think. So before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the age of antibiotic resistance, where the once curable infection now defies machine's best weapon, a new hero emerges, not from the pharmacy, but from the world of nanotechnology. Imagine a sheet so thin it's only 1 atom thick, yet sharper than any blade nature has ever forged. This is a graphene oxide, a carbon lattice that slices through the deadly bacteria while leaving human cells untouched. It does not just fight superbug, it rewrites the rule of survival, turning physics into medicine and proving that sometimes the smallest structure can wage the bigger wars.
नमस्कारम दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। आज 30 जून है और आज मंगलवार का दिन है। सब जानते हैं कि जो मंगलवार का दिन होता है वो हनुमान जी के लिए समर्पित है। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे हर रोज की तरह पूजा करके, और आज हम हनुमान चालीसा का पाठ करेंगे। तो ठीक है, हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, नमन कर लीजिए और हम पाठ शुरू कर रहे हैं। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निजमन मुकुर सुधार, बरनो रघुवर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फलचार। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानुके, सुमरो पवन कुमार, बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि, हरेउ कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तेहु लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमत के संगी। कंचन वरन विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र ओ ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरी सिंह दिखावा, विकट रूप धरी लंग जरावा। भीम रूप धरी असुर सहारे, रामचंद्र जी के काज संवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जी आए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए। रघुपत कीनी बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादि ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाँ थे, कवि कोविद कह सके कहाँ थे। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु, लीलियो ताही मधुर फल जानो। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेल मुख माही, जलधि लांग गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवाले, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन ते समारो आपे, तीनों लोग हाँकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लाए, सोई अमित जीवन फल पाए। जानो जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवाले, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे। अस सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, अस पर दीन जान की माता। राम रसायन तुमरे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुमरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित न धरे, हनुमत से ही सब सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सतपार पाठ कर कोय, छूटे है बंदी महा सुख होई। जो ये पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, हुए सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरिचेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय में डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूरत रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुरभूप। जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम। तो दोस्तों, आज हमारी पूजा संपन्न हुई। अब हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे। हमारी तरह आपका दिन भी शुभ रहे, इसी कामना के साथ इस वीडियो को हम यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। जल्दी मिलता हूं दूसरे वीडियो में।
Bold new roadmap reshapes Indian classroom with a skill-based learning, multilingual literacy, and technology-driven education, preparing students not just for marks but for life. Education in India is entering a new chapter. The Central Board of Secondary Education has announced a sweeping curriculum revamp that will take effect from 2026. And it promises to reshape the way millions of students experience learning. For decades, Indian school system had been criticized for its heavy reliance on rote memorizations, exam pressures, and limited focus on skills. This roadmap is CBSE's attempt to break away from the mold and align classroom with the vision of National Education Policy 2020. At the heart of the revamp is a shift towards skill-based learning. Instead of simply reproducing textbook answers, students will be encouraged to think critically, solve problems creatively, and collaborate with the peers. The idea is to prepare them not just for exam, but for the life beyond school, whether in higher education, the workplace, or society at large. Teachers will be expected to integrate projects, presentations, and real world case studies into their lessons, making learning more engaging and practical. One of the most debated actually changes in is the three language rule. Under the new framework, students will study three languages up to class 10, with at least one being an Indian language. Supporters argue that this will strengthen cultural roots, multilingual literacy, while the critics worry that it may add stress to students already juggling with multiple subjects. The policy reflects CBSE's attempt to balance global competitiveness with a national identity. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So going forward, another major reform in the reduction of content load. The syllabus will be streamlined to focus on core concept, cutting down an excessive detail that often overwhelmed students. And this will free up time for experimentations, experiential learning activities in the lab and the field projects and creative exploration. So alongside this, CBSE plan to integrate technology and digital tools into classroom. So adapted learning platform, AI assist resources, and online practical module will become the part of everyday teaching, ensuring students are comfortable with the digital world they will inherit. Assessment will also undergo a transformation. The traditional high-stake exam model will give way to continuous competency-based evaluation. Marks will be no longer hinged solely on the 3-hour test. Instead, projects, practical, and presentation will carry a greater weight. And this change is expected to reduce exam stress and provide a more accurate picture of students' ability. The impact of this reform will be felt across the ecosystem. Students will find their education more engaging and less mechanical. Teachers, however, will face little challenge of adopting the new method, mastering the digital tools, and rethinking how they evaluate performance. And parents too will need to adjust their expectation, as success will no longer be measured by exam scores but by skill and competencies. Of course, challenges remains, like training teachers across India's vast and diverse school network is no small task. Ensuring rural schools have access to digital infrastructure will require significant investment. And the three language rule may face resistance from families who fear it add unnecessary burden. Yet, despite these hurdles, the roadmap signals a bold step towards modernizing Indian education. So, what do you think about this? We have come to the end of this live stream, and thanks for watching. I would request you to like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we close this live streaming, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Nagarjuna's vision of emptiness offers balance, resilience, and wisdom for the challenges of our interconnected 21st century world. In the grand tapestry of Indian philosophy, few figures stand as tall and as enigmatic as Nagarjuna, the 2nd century Buddhist philosopher, often regarded as the most influential thinker after Buddha himself. His contribution lies in the systematic exposition of Shunyavad, the doctrine of emptiness, which became the cornerstone of Madhyamaka school of Mahayana Buddhism. In 2026, Shunyavad, the philosophy of emptiness articulated by Naga Arjun, remains strikingly relevant, not just as a spiritual doctrine, but as a lens through which we can interpret the modern life, technology, and society. So Nagarjuna's genius was to show that this emptiness applies not only to the worldly appearances but also to the ultimate reality. He argued that both samsara, that means the cycle of birth and death, and nirvana, that is liberation, are empty of inherent existence. This radical insight collapsed the duality between bondage and liberation, suggesting that the absolute is not something separate from the world, but the very ground of all appearances. So with the geopolitical tensions, climate change, economic stress, and the doctrine of emptiness teaches resilience at this point of time, that means in 2026. So by recognizing that the cries are not permanent entities, but dependent on the cause and conditions, and we approach them with the flexibility rather than despair. And this is the way to go forward when we understand the teaching of Nagarjuna. So it is important to note that the Nagarjuna did not invent Shunyavad. The seeds of this doctrine were already present in Mahayana Sutras even before his time. What makes Nagarjuna remarkable is that he gathered these scattered threads and wove them into a coherent, rigorous philosophical system. He gave Shunyavad its intellectual depth, transforming it from mystical insight into a dialectical method that could withstand scrutiny. In an era of stress, identity crisis, and the idea that self is empty of fixed essence can be liberating. So it helps individual detach from the rigid ego construct and embrace fluidity, and reducing anxiety about permanence and control. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So we were talking about Shunyavad, and Shunyavad often misunderstood as nihilism. And sometimes called it is denial, but it is not a denial of reality. The Shunya literally means void or empty, but in Nagarjuna's philosophy, it carries a subtle meaning. It refers to the absence of inherent existence, that is swabhav. When we talk in Hindi, all phenomena, according to him, arise in dependence on cause and conditions. A principle known as something when we understand pratyaksh, and then we analyze that, and or it depend where it dependent originated. So because things exist only in the relation to other things, and they cannot possess an independent permanent essence. So in this sense, they are empty. And in a world dominated by artificial intelligence, virtual realities, and shifting identities, Shunyavad reminds us that phenomena lacks inherent existence. Just as an AI model or digital avatar has no fixed essence outside its relational context, so do human construct exist only through interdependence. So his dialectical method expressed in his teaching dismantle very philosophical position by showing its contradictions. Whether one assert existence, non-existence, both or neither, Nagarjuns demonstrate that each claim lead to a logical impasses. Reality, he insists, that transcends these categories. So it cannot be captured by intellect, which is inherently actually discursive or relational. So true understanding comes only through a direct spiritual realization. So as India revamp its curriculum like CBSE in 2026 roadmap, and Shunyavad offers a philosophical foundation for the critical thinking, challenging rigid categories and encouraging students to see the knowledge as dynamic and contextual and interconnected. So the middle path that Nagarjuna champions avoid the extreme of eternalism, the belief in which is permanent existence, and nihilism, that is denial of all realities. So by affirming emptiness, he does not negate the world's but actually reveals its relational nature. Appearances are real enough in empirical sense, but they lack ultimate substance. The absolute, meanwhile, is not a thing but a non-dual reality in which all distinctions dissolve. So this philosophy had a profound implication. It reshaped Buddhist metaphysics, influenced later thinkers in Tibet and China and Japan, even resonate with the modern philosophers who saw in Nagarjuna's prosecutors to ritualism and relationalism and demonstration. So his instances that the concept collapse under their own weight anticipate contemporary critics of language and meaning. So Shunyavad's emphasis or interdependence resonate with the ecological thought. It reminds us that the human nature technologies are not separate entity but a part of a web of condition and an insight crucial for sustainability in 2026. Yet, Nagarjuna's aim was not merely intellectual. His philosophy was deeply soteriological, and it means to liberate. So, by realizing the emptiness of all things, one is freed from clinging or aversions or delusion. The realization of shunya is or we say shunyata, that is the realization of nirvana itself. So in the end, Nagarjuna's contribution lies in his ability to articulate the infables. He took the Buddha's insight into dependent origination and expanded it into a comprehensive philosophy of emptiness. Shunyavad, for being a doctrine of despair, Shunyavad is a doctrine of freedom actually. So it teaches that by seeing through the illusion of inherent existence, we awaken to the non-dual reality where the samsara and the nirvana are not opposite but unified. So this is a resolution of thought that Nagarjuna gifted to the world, a vision that continues to inspire seeker and scholars alike. Please send your comments, subscribe our channel, and for more insight into Indian spirituality and mythology. See you in the next one. But before we end this live stream, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Engines of tomorrow are no longer bound by a single choice. They whisper efficiency and roar with power, and all from the same stream of fuel. The new two-in-one propulsion system is not just a hardware. It is a promise of a lighter spacecraft, smarter journey, and future where Mars feel closer than ever. So let's find out more about this. In the quiet laboratories where the engineers dream of carrying humanity farther than ever before, a new kind of engine hums with the promise. It is not a single thruster, but a simple upgrade. And also not a simple upgrade. That's what I want to just tell you and inform you. It is a kind of hybrid marvel, and in which is a two-in-one propulsion system that can feed monopropellant fuel into both electrical and chemical thrusters. This duality, elegant in its simplicity, and you may soon redefine how we journey to Mars and beyond. So, for decades, the spacecraft designers have wrestled with the dilemma. Chemical thruster provide raw power and the brute force needed for liftoff and the orbital insertion and the quick maneuvers. The electric thruster, by contrast, offer efficiency, sipping fuel slowly while delivering steady acceleration over long voyage. So, mission to Mars have always required a compromise. Carry both system, doubling mass and complexity, or sacrifice flexibility. This new breakthrough actually dissolved that compromises. By channelizing a single fuel source into two different modes of propulsion, engineers have created a system that is lighter, leaner, and far more adaptable. So imagine a spacecraft departing from Earth orbit. At first, it fire its chemical thruster, burning with this urgency to as actually escape velocity. Then, once freed from the Earth gravitational forces, the same fuel is redirected into electric thruster, whispering ions into the void, pushing the craft steadily and towards the Mars. No need for separate tanks, valves, or redundant system. One fuel, two engine, and infinite possibilities. So the implication actually ripple outward. Reduced mass means more room for scientific instruments, habitats, or supplies for astronauts. And simplified architectures means fewer points of failure, critical advantage when the mission stretch across millions of kilometers. And versatility of this kind of versatility actually means that spacecraft can adapt mid-journey, switching between power and efficiency as condition demands. For Mars mission, where every kilometer counts and every maneuver must be precise, this innovation could be the difference between success and stagnation. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in. and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now let's continue with our discussion. So beyond Mars, the system hint at a new philosophy of exploration. Hybrid propulsion embodies resilience, the ability to shift gears in the face of uncertainty. It mirrors the adaptability humanity itself must embrace as we step into interplanetary life. So, just as explorer once carried sails and oars to masters both wind and current. Further, spacecraft may carry this dual thruster to master both speed and endurance. The upcoming in-space test will be more than a technical trial. It will be rehearsal for future. Engineers will watch closely as the system transition between modes as fuel flow seamlessly from one chamber to another, as the spacecraft responds with the agility. So, if successful, the test will mark a turning point. Propulsion not as a burden of choice, but a symphony of possibilities. So, in the grand arc of exploration, breakthrough often arrive quickly, tucked inside the engineering papers, yet their echoes resounds across the generation. In two-in-one propulsion system may one day be remembered as the invention that unlocked Mars, the key that opened the doors to solar system alive with the human footprints. So for now, it is a promise, an elegant solution waiting to prove itself in the silence of space, where every whisper of the thrust carries as closer to the new world. So new findings, new inventions, and new footmarks. So in the silence of the space, where every kilometer carried the very spark of thrust matters actually. And this hybrid engine stands as a symbol of ingenuity. By merging power with precision, it promises to lighten our journey and lengthen our reach. So if the upcoming test succeeds, it will not only simplify the path to Mars, but also mark the dawn of a new era where one stream of fuel carries humanity towards many horizons. So we have come to the end of this discussion. So if you feel like adding to this discussion, you want to add your viewpoint on this, please write in the comment section. We will definitely reply you. And also please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one very soon. See you. Bye-bye.
Hello, friends. Namaskaram. In an era where the CEOs are obsessed with analytics, KPIs, and AI driven insights, there is a fundamental element of business and humanity itself that numbers simply cannot quantify. Therefore, in this video, we explore the profound leadership lessons that we learn from Bhagavad Gita. And we will actually discuss one particular verse which describes the soul as something amazing to witness yet impossible to fully decode, serves as a powerful metaphor for the CEO's blind spot. Let's go and discuss this further. As CEOs, we live by numbers. We are trained to believe that if we can measure it, we can manage it. We optimize our supply chain, we do A and B tests, and we also test our marketing. We use AI to predict market shifts. We pride ourselves on being data driven. But let me ask you a simple question. How often have you made a perfect decision based on all the available data only for it to fail sometime later because of something which you missed and that was intangible? Maybe it was a culture issue, you didn't see it coming, or sudden shift in consumer feelings that no spreadsheet could capture. Today, I want to talk about your biggest professional blind spot. It is not a lack of data, it is the mistaken belief that data is the only reality. We are going to look at this through the lens of an ancient wisdom, a verse from Bhagavad Gita that suggests there are dimensions of reality that remains by definition beyond our decoding. So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in, and you know which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's look at the verse now. In this verse, the text describes the nature of the soul, which is the essence of a person or the inner spark, using three words. And the quote starts, "For some, the soul is amazing to see, for some, it is perplexing to hear, and for some, it is a mystery when described. No one has really been able to decode the soul as yet." And the quote close. Think about the word mystery. In business, we hate that word. We want clarity. We want an algorithm. But this ancient teaching reminds us that the most vital part of life, and by extension, the core of our business success, are inherently indecodable. You cannot put a human soul, a leader's intuition, or the spark of the innovation into a KPI report. So, why is this CEO's blind spot? Because when we try to decode our team as if they are the machines, we lose them completely. The engagement gap also can define this. You can track hours worked by your team, but you cannot track the soul of and the passion of your employees. And the third point could be the vision gap. The strategy is a data, vision is a mystery. People follow leaders who are comfortable with the mystery, not just leaders who are comfortable with Excel. So, when we focus only on the decodable, we become reactive. We ignore the pulse of our organization. We miss the amazing things happening right in front of us because we are too busy looking at the metrics of the past. So, friends, what does this mean for our daily routine? It doesn't mean throwing away your data. It means developing a different kind of executive presence. Embrace the unknown. When you face a crisis, don't just look for more data. Ask, what is the human element here that I'm not measuring? You can also look at, a method of cultivating intuitions. Intuition is just high speed pattern recognition filtered through experience. It is your internal vision of seeing the amazing. You could also consider, the space itself, which holds the mystery. If your team feels like they are line items, they feel they will perform like line item itself because that's what they believe. If you treat them as a part of a mystery that is still unfolding, that is unique and valuable. You tap into their true potential. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that the soul is a mystery, and it is beauty also. Maybe your business is too in a similar fashion. Stop trying to decode everything. Start embracing the mystery, and that is where the real growth will happen. So, friends, my name is CK. Thanks for watching. And if this shift your perspective today, subscribe for more ways to lead with both clarity and humanity. And I will catch you again in the next one.
Long before modern medicine built its labs, ancient India nurtured a science of life that saw health as a harmony, healing as compassion. At the heart of this tradition stood Charak, the physician sage, whose Charak Samhita became the cornerstone of the Ayurveda. He was not merely cataloging herbs or treatment, he was shaping a philosophy where the well-being of human, animals, and the environment were inseparably bounded. So let's find out more. In the grand tapestry of ancient Indian wisdom, Charak stands as one of the most luminous thread. A physician, a philosopher, and the scientist of the 2nd century CE, Charak is remembered as the principal architect of Ayurveda, the science of life. His magnum opus, the Charak Samhita, is not merely a medical text but a holistic philosophy of health, weaving together the mind, the body, and the spirit and the environment into a unified vision of well being. Charak's genius lay in his insistence that health was not the absence of disease but the balance of forces. He articulated the tridosha theory, which is called Vat, pith and kaph. That means the force of movement and the transformation and the structure derived from the element of the nature. So as he actually mentioned, it is as a governing principle of philosophy and physiology. So these are not mystic abstraction, but keen observations of how body respond to diet, climate, stress, and lifestyle. In his view, medicines were not about suppressing the symptoms, but restoring the harmony. His philosophy resonated deeply in 2026 when modern medicine increasingly embraces personalized care, preventive health, and integrative approach. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, moving forward, about Charak. Equally profound was Charak's emphasis on prevention. He prescribed a daily regime, that is dincharya, but that's what we call in Hindi. Then the second option he has given, seasonal routine, which is ritucharya, and dietary discipline as the pillar of resilience. He warned against the excess, idleness, and the neglect of nature's rhythm. Today, as the humanity faces epidemics of lifestyle diseases, diabetic, hypertension, obesity, his preventive ethos feels prophetic. And the public health campaign echoes his wisdom. Lifestyle is a medicine and balance is survival. Charak also recognized the inseparability of human and animals. His text include reference to veterinary care, acknowledging that the health of domesticated animals are vital to agrarian societies. In 2026, his vision expand into the modern concept of health, which link human, animal, environmental well-being. Zoonotic diseases, climate-driven epidemics, and ethical debate about animal welfare remind us that the Charak's holistic worldview was centuries ahead of its time. The Charak Samhita catalogued hundreds of medical plants and minerals and formulations. Many of these are like turmeric, neem, ashwagandha. They are now globally recognized for their therapeutic properties. In 2026, the pharmacological and research continues to validate Charak's pharmacy and the kind of formation he actually written in his Charak Samhita, and offering sustainable alternative to synthetic drugs. His insistence on empirical observation and documentation of foreshadows the scientific method itself. Charak's relevance today extends beyond medicine into ethics and ecology. He demanded that physician embody compassion, humanity, and humility and discipline, while treating patient as a whole being rather than simply a medical case. So in an era of AI diagnostics and robotic surgeries, his reminder that the healing is a moral duty is invaluable. Technology may augment skills, but empathy remains irreplaceable. So, equally, Charak's ecological sensibility feels urgent in the age of climate crisis. He viewed human as inseparable from their environment and emphasizing harmony with nature. The pollution of air, water, and soil is not merely an environmental issue, it is a medical issue also. So, his integrated worldview offers guidance for planetary health, reminding us that the well being of human, animal cannot be divorced from well being of Earth itself. Looking ahead, the scope of Charak's vision in 2026 and the beyond is vast. Ayurveda is no longer confined to India. It is a part of global movement towards the integrative medicines. AI-driven diagnostics, genetic engineering, and space medicine may dominate headlines, but Charak's principle of balance, prevention, compassion remain timeless. His legacy challenges to ensure that science serve a life, not merely a survival, that medicine heal not only body but communities and ecosystem and of course future. So Charak's voice carried across millennia remind us that health is not a conquest but a care, not a control but a balance. In the quiet wisdom of his verses, we find a compass for navigating the complexities of modern health, a call to remember that healing is both art and science, rooted in the respect of all lives, all living beings. So, when we talk about Charak's vision is never confined to the boundaries of his era. It was a philosophy meant to endure. In his teaching, health was not a privilege but a responsibility. Not a fleeting cure but a lifelong balance. He saw human, animal, and the environment as a thread of the same fabric, each dependent on other for the strength and the survival. The worldview resonated powerfully in 2026 when the challenges of climate change, zoonotic diseases, and the lifestyle disorder demand a holistic response. Ayurveda, as shaped by Charak, is not a relic of the past but a living system evolving along the side of modern science. It is its emphasis on prevention, compassion, and ecological harmony offers a compass for medicine in the age of AI. Biotechnology, planetary health, as researchers validate ancient formulations and integrate them with a cutting edge therapies, Charak's legacy continues to expand and bridging the tradition, innovation, humanity, and nature. So, again, we will actually understand the story of Charak is ultimately a reminder. A healing is not a conquest, but definitely a care. And in the pulse of Ayurveda, we hear his enduring message that well-being is not only for today, but for tomorrow and for all the life that walks, flies, swim, and breathe beneath the same sky. So we have come to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe our channel. Look forward for your comments on this topic. We'll see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, I'm sure you might have seen the SpaceX launch news a couple of days back. But did you know that the SpaceX just launched its most powerful Starship mega rocket yet? And therefore today we are going to discuss this historic flight test, which culminated in a spectacular fiery splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Did the Starship pass its ultimate test, or was it a catastrophic failure? In this video, we break down the entire mission from the mind-blowing liftoff powered by 33 Raptor engines to the intense atmospheric re-entry plasma that pushed the spacecraft to its limits. Let's go. What are you looking isn't a catastrophic failure. It is the exact moment the largest, most powerful rocket ever built by humanity slammed into Indian Ocean and erupted into spectacular ball of fire. But here is a crazy part. Inside the SpaceX mission control, people weren't crying. They were actually roaring with delight. Elon Musk immediately took the X to declare it an epic milestone, telling his team, "You scored a goal for humanity." So friends, welcome back and all the space fans. SpaceX has officially launched flight number 12 of its massive Starship rocket system. But this wasn't just any test. This was highly anticipated debut of the Starship version 3, V3, or a souped up version of the same Starship. Heavily redesigned mega rocket designed to completely dwarf its predecessors. It carried a real payload, pushed its engine to absolute breaking point, and ended with a blinding plasma fueled inferno over the ocean. Was this a roaring success that put us closer to the Mars, or a multi-million-dollar glitch fest? Let's break down exactly what happened during the Starship wildest flight yet. So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. To understand why this flight was such a big deal, we have to look at the hardware. Up until recently, SpaceX was flying its older space skimming prototypes. But Flight 12 introduced the world to the third generation Starship V3. When fully stacked on the brand new which is Pad 2 at the Starbase, Texas, this monster stands at mind-boggling 407 feet tall. That's over 124 meters. It eclipses the older models and pack even more, much more engine and bigger thrust. SpaceX essentially re-engineered the whole vehicle. They swapped out the old steering fins for fewer but much bigger and stronger grid fins to steer the booster home. They overhauled the computer power and added more cameras and built a massive internal fuel transfer line to feed the ravenous thirst of its 33 Raptor engines. To give you an idea of the scale, that fuel line alone is the size of an entire Falcon 9 rocket booster. The stakes of this launch could not have been higher. Just 2 days prior, Elon Musk shocked the financial world by announcing plans to take SpaceX public, what could be the largest IPO in history. After the technical glitch with the hydraulic pin or the launch tower scrubbed, which is the during the Thursday's attempt, engineers worked overnight on Friday, which is May 22nd, 2026. The countdown ticked to zero. At 5:30 p.m. local Texas time, the night sky lit up as the Super Heavy booster roared to life, unleashing a staggering 16 million pound of thrust, and liftoff from South Texas was clean, stable, and absolutely beautiful. But the space is hard, and the anomalies didn't wait long to show up. As the rocket soared past hypersonic speed, things began to get sweaty in the mission control. Starship upper stage relies on its Raptor engine to achieve its precise orbital trajectory. But during the initial burn, one of the main engine malfunctioned and cut out early. Because of this engine failure, Starships didn't quite make to its intended textbook orbit. SpaceX spokesperson Don Huot put it bluntly during the live stream, and the quote starts, "I wouldn't call it a nominal orbital insertion. However, the Starship onboard computers are smart, remaining engine compensated, keeping the trajectory well within the bounds of the safety limits. The ship was flying hurt, but it was still flying." Then came the most visually stunning moment of the launch, which is hot stagging. At the fringes of the space, upper stage Starship ignited its engine while still attached to the booster. Blinding torrent of plasma blasted through its nozzles, and the two vehicles cleanly broke apart. So there was a ring in between, which, because of this high pressure of plasma, the vehicle basically became broke into two. With the ship safety on its way, all eyes turned to Super Heavy booster. Now SpaceX wasn't planning to catch the booster with giant mechanical chopsticks, which is the arm on this flight. They were aiming to for a precision controlled landing burn over Gulf of Mexico. But the booster was angry. As it plunged back through the atmosphere, the multiple engine failed to reignite for the planned boost back burn. Deprived of its braking power, the multi-million-dollar booster fell entirely out of control and exploded mid-air before obliterating itself in the Gulf of Mexico. A total loss of booster, but the main event was still orbiting 120 miles above our head. While its booster was at the bottom of the Gulf, the Starship V3 was coasting partways around the world on a near global journey. And for the first time, it had a real job to do. Starship successfully opened its payload door, deployed 20 mock Starlink satellites into the vacuum of space. Even cooler, SpaceX deployed two specialized camera-equipped mini probes to float alongside the Starship, filming its thermal heat shield to see how it would handle the terrifying heat of re-entry. An hour after launch, Starship began its descent over the Indian Ocean, just off the coast of Western Australia. This is where the magic and the fire happens. Plunging belly first at 25 times the speed of sound, spacecraft was engulfed in a punishing envelope of superheated plasma. Amazingly, despite the earlier engine failure, the Starship executed a complex flip maneuver, keeping itself upright and under seemingly full control. As it neared the water, it fired its landing engines, plummeted upright into the sea, toppled over, and instantly erupted into massive wall of fire and heavy smoke. It was quite violent, fiery, and it was also an incredible machine. So let's address the elephant in the room now. If the booster blew up in the air and the ship exploded in the ocean, why is everyone calling this a win? Because in the aerospace development, hardware is meant to be pushed until it breaks. SpaceX never intended to recover either stage on this flight. The goal was data. They successfully tested the V3 upgrades, survived the hot staging, and deployed the payload and successfully guided a bleeding damaged spacecraft to a precise ocean splashdown under controlled environment. NASA is currently paying SpaceX billions of dollars to turn this exact rocket into lunar lander for upcoming Artemis mission. So racing against Jeff Bezos, which is the blue region, and China's to put boots on the moon. Flight 12 proved that even when things go wrong, Starship's core architecture is incredibly robust. Every fiery explosion gets SpaceX closer to fully reusable rocket that will change space travel forever. So friends, what do you think of Starship V3 fiery debut? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe for more breaking space updates, and I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Friends, we all know that the stars, when they run out of their fuel, explodes into a supernova, especially the kind of star which are much larger than sun. They have to be larger than sun in order to become a supernova. However, there are certain stars which don't simply explode. They turn into a hot blowtorch. And this is a very specific phenomena. And to understand this type of supernova, we will take a deep dive into high energy astrophysics, and we will examine this phenomena, which is known as hotter than hell, also known in scientific term as the fast blue optical transient, and also known as the blue death. What is this phenomena? Let us explore this further.
Namaskaram friends, you are most welcome. In the year 2008, the skies over Bengaluru witnessed a historic moment that changed the trajectory of Indian aviation forever. The day India took flight. The Tejas 2008 breakthrough recounts the critical flight test of the indigenously developed light combat aircraft LCA. Today we know this aircraft as Tejas. This wasn't just another test flight. It was a definitive turning point for India's self-reliance in advanced defense technology. From drawing board of the Aeronautical Development Agency ADA to the hangars of Hall, we look back at the immense engineering effort, the technical challenges overcome, and the sheer grit required to build a world-class fighter from the ground up. Let's go and explore this further. There is a specific sound that defines a nation's ambition. It is the roar of the jet engine. Not one bought from the foreign power, not one assembled from imported kits, but one forged right here in the heart of India. For decades, India relied on others to protect our skies. From the MiG of the Soviet era to the Jaguars and Mirages of Europe, our defense was a patchwork of global technology. But in 2008, the narrative shifted. We aren't just talking about a flight test, we are talking about the psychological barrier being broken here. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in and which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. All right, let's proceed further. Today we are looking at the Tejas 2008 breakthrough. Why does this specific year matter so much in the history of light combat aircraft? And what does it mean for the India's journey towards true Atmanirbharta or self-reliance? Let's dive in. To understand the victory of 2008, you have to understand the frustration that came before it. The Light Combat Aircraft program was sanctioned in 1983. Its goal to replace aging MiG-21 fleet. But this was a small task. We were trying to design a delta wing supersonic fighter that could hold its own in modern combat. And then came the 1990s, following the Pokhran 2 nuclear test in the year 1998. India faced severe sanctions. Crucial software and material was suddenly cut off. The world expected the project to collapse. Instead, Indian scientists and the engineers, brilliant mind at DRDO, ADA, and HAL, did something extraordinary. They did not just find a workaround, they developed their own. That pressure cooker environment in the 90s is exactly why the 2008 progress was so significant. It wasn't just good enough, it was testament to the fact that when India is pushed, India pushes back with innovation. So, why focus on 2008? It wasn't the first flight that happened in 2001. 2008 was a year of maturation. It was a year we transitioned from a proof of concept to a weapon system. In 2008, the Tejas program hits critical milestone in high altitude testing and weapons integration. This was a year the platform began proving that its fly-by-wire system, one of the most complex flight control system in the world, was not just functional but also reliable. Think about what that means. A fly-by-wire system is basically a computer acting as the pilot's brain. It interprets the pilot's inputs and make thousands of micro adjustments per second to keep the jet stable. When our pilot took the Tejas up in 2008, they weren't just flying a plane, they were validating an entire digital architecture built by Indian engineers. In 2008, breakthrough sent a shockwave through the global defense industry. It signaled that India was no longer just a buyer, we were now a developer of weapon system. This success brought several key advantages. Number one, composite mastery. The Tejas uses carbon fiber composites for its structure. This made the jet incredibly light and strong, giving it an edge in the maneuverability that surprised the international observers. Number two, the intellectual property right. By owning the design, we aren't at the mercy of the foreign vendors for upgrades. If we needed a software patch, we wrote it. If we needed a hardware change, we engineered it. Number three is the psychological shift. It proved to the next generation of engineers that a made in India fighter jet wasn't a pipe dream, it was a reality sitting on the tarmac in Bangalore. In the year 2008, confidence is the direct ancestor of what we see today. The Tejas MK1A, the upcoming MK2, the TED BF, all of these programs trace their DNA back to the grid shown in 2008. When we look back at the photos of the footage from that era, we see a team of people who were tired, stressed, but absolutely elated. They knew they had achieved something that until that point only handful of nations on earth could claim. The ability to design the fly an advanced fourth generation plus fighter jet is now India was a member of that elite group. The Tejas isn't perfect. No fighter jet in its early stage is, but its story is one of the persistence. It's a story of how a nation decided that its security was too important to be left to someone else. So, next time when you see Tejas soaring through the skies during an air show, remember you're not just looking at the machine, you're looking at the result of thousands of hours of late night coding, structural testing, and the refusal to quit until 2008. So, friends, what do you think is most impressive feature of Tejas? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Indian aviation history, hit that like button, subscribe the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out our next breakdown. I'm CK, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Jai Hind.
In the age of antibiotic resistance, where the once curable infection now defies machine's best weapon, a new hero emerges, not from the pharmacy, but from the world of nanotechnology. Imagine a sheet so thin it's only one atom thick, yet sharper than any blade nature has ever forged. This is a graphene oxide, a carbon lattice that slices through the deadly bacteria while leaving human cells untouched. It does not just fight superbug, it rewrites the rule of survival, turning physics into medicine and proving that sometimes the smallest structure can wage the bigger wars. So, in the relentless battle between medicine and microbes, humanity faces formidable foe. Antibiotic resistance bacteria, often called as superbug, and these pathogens actually hardened by decades of overuse and misuse of antibiotics now evade the treatment that once subdued them with ease. So hospitals worldwide reports infection that no longer respond to conventional drug raises the specter of post-antibiotic era where minor wound or a routine surgery could again become deadly. So against this backdrop, scientists have turned to an unlikely ally, and which is graphene oxide, a material born out not out in biology but in the lab of nanotechnology. So graphene is a single layer of carbon atom arranged in a honeycomb lattice and has been hailed as a wonder material for its strength, conductivity, versatility, and there are other aspect which is definitely associated with that. When oxided and it's gain a chemical group that makes its biological active. So researchers discovered that graphene oxide sheet interacts with bacterial membranes in a way that is both subtle and devastating. So while microscopic blade they pierce and disrupts the lipid wall of harmful bacteria, causing them to leak or die. Yet remarkably, human cell remains unharmed. And the selectivity lies in the differences between bacterial and mammalian membranes, and this is very architectural of life, and that becomes the shield that protects us. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. So this will remind us and determine the reach of our channel. So this discovery is more than a lab curiosity. So it represents a paradigm shift in antimicrobial strategy. So unlike antibiotic, which targets specific biochemical pathway and can be actually outmaneuvered by mutations, graphene oxide attacks the physical integrity of bacteria. So resistance is in this way is far harder to evolve. A bacterium cannot easily re-engineer its membranes to withstand the sharp edges of graphene sheet without compromising its own survival. So thus, graphene oxide offers a weapon that sidesteps the evolutionary arm race that has actually plugged into antibiotic development. So the implication ripples outward. Imagine hospital surfaces coated with graphene oxide film, silently neutralizing a pathogen before they spread. So picture would be like dressing infused with graphene oxide, protecting patients from infection without the need for systematic drug. So considering all this, consider the water purification system where graphene oxide eliminates the harmful microbes while leaving beneficial one untouched. So each application transform the material from a marvel of physics into a guardian of health. So yet, as with all scientific breakthroughs, the caution temper is excitement. And the researchers must ensure that the long-term exposure to graphene oxide does not produce unforeseen effect in human tissues or ecosystem. So balance between efficiency and safety must be carefully measured. Moreover, the scaling production of graphene oxide to industrial level poses challenges in cost and sustainability. Promise is immense, but realization also requires meticulous engineering and ethical foresight. So philosophically, the rise of graphene oxide as a microbial slayer underscores a deeper truth. Solution of biological crisis may emerge from realm far beyond biology. A material once prized for electronics now stands at the frontier of medicine. So this coverage of disciplines, physics like chemistry and microbiology illustrates the interconnectedness of human knowledge. So in the lattice of carbon atoms, we glimpse not just strength and conductivity, but a new chapter in the story of survival. As superbug continues to threaten the modern medicine, graphene oxide offers hope that the tide can be turned. And it is not a kind of which is very powerful, but a powerful addition to our arsenal of medicines, of safeguarding the health. In its sharp edges and selective touches, we find a reminder that the innovation often lies at the boundaries of field waiting to be discovered. The fight against the superbug is far from over, but with graphene oxide, humanity may have found a material ally as resilient and adaptable as life itself. So, in this war against the antibiotic resistance, graphene oxides stand as a chemical cure, but as also a material revolution. Its atom thin blade reminds us that the innovation often lies at the crossroad of disciplines, where physics meets medicines and nanotechnology becomes the shield for the life. The challenge ahead is too actually hard but promising. Promise with the responsibility and scaling production, ensuring safety and weaving it into the fabric of healthcare. Definitely it is there, but still require a sharper understanding and experiment. If the success of the graphene oxide may mark the dawn of new era where the superbug lose their grip, the humanity reclaim its edge. So this is for today. We have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. We will request you to like and subscribe our channel. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In an era where the artificial intelligence debates blur the line between mind and machine, the voice of an ancient sage still echoes with a startling clarity. I'm talking about Rishi Kapil, the father of Sankhya philosophy, who once declared that existence is woven from two eternal threads. One is Purush, that means pure consciousness, and another is Prakriti, that means nature. 25 centuries later, his vision feels uncannily modern. So let's find out more about this philosophy. In the long arc of Indian philosophy, few figures shines with the clarity and a rational brilliance, and we are talking about Rishi Kapil, the sage credited with founding of the Sankhya Darshan, and his vision was not of a ritual or myth, but an analysis, definitely also an attempt to map the very structure of existence. In an age where the spiritual truth were often veiled in the symbolism, Kapil offered a framework that was systematic, logical, and enduring. His contribution was not merely to Indian thought, but to the universal quest for understanding consciousness and matter. Kapil's philosophy began with a profound dualism, the distinction between Purush and Prakriti. So, Purush is pure consciousness, which is eternal, unchanging, and the silent witness of reality, while the Prakriti is nature, which is dynamic and mutable, the source of all material phenomena. From their interplay arises the cosmos, with its multi-simplicity of form and experience. The vision was revolutionary, for it explained the universe not as a whim of God, but unfolding principles, ordered, knowable, and accessible to human reasons. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So let's continue further on this subject. He enumerated 25 tattva or principles that chart the evolution of universe from subtle intellect and egos and to the mind, and also senses and element. And this systematic approach gave Sankhya its name, enumeration, and its enduring appeal. Kapil's framework becomes the foundation upon which later traditions, including yoga and Ayurveda, built their practices. The Trigun theory, that is three-dimension theory, and in this Trigun theory, there are three subjects which definitely are debatable, and they are very, very unique. One is sattva. Sattva means purity. The other one is rajas, that means passion, and the last one is tamas, that is darkness. And this all remains the central of understanding human psychology and health even today. So while Kapil was not merely a philosopher of categories, his ultimate concern was liberation, that is moksha. And he taught that bondages arise when the consciousness identifies with the matter, mistaking the transient of eternal. So that is one thing which is very, very deep. And when we talk about liberation comes through a discrimination and recognizing the difference between Purush and Prakriti. In this clarity lies freedom, the soul no longer entangled in the cycles of birth and death, but resting in its own pure awareness. His path was one of the knowledge, and it is not a ritual, but it is insight and not any kind of spiritual superficiality, So in 2026, the Kapil's relevance is striking. So, as humanity grapples with the artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and the blurring of boundaries between mind and machine, his distinction between consciousness and material processes offer a lens of clarity. So, neuroscience may map the mind, the algorithm may stimulate thought, but Kapil's remind us that awareness itself, the silent witness, is actually indissoluble. So his philosophy resonate with modern debate on whether consciousness can be explained by material science or whether it points to something beyond. So definitely this is a point of discussion, getting more awareness about this. So moreover, Kapil's Trigun theory finds echoes in contemporary psychology and behavioral science. The restless drive of Rajas, the inertia of Tamas, and the clarity of Sattva mirrors the state of mind studied even today. So his insight into the idea that effects the pre-exist in the cause align with the modern understanding of continuity in neutral processes. So in a sustainability discourse, his vision of interconnectedness between matter and consciousness inspire holistic approach of ecology and ethics. So Kapil's legacy also lives in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna speaks of Sankhya as the path of wisdom and contemplating yoga and devotion. His rational spirit influenced Buddhist and Jain thoughts also, and his systematic enumeration shaped the centuries of Indian intellectual life. So in every age, his philosophy has been rediscovered not as a relic but a living framework of inquiry, of living, understanding the Sankhya philosophy. As we stand in 2026, facing crisis of environment, technology, and identity, Kapil's voice whispers across millennia. And seek clarity, distinguish the eternal from the transient, and liberation will follow. So his contribution is not confined to ancient text. It is a compass of modern seekers, scientists, and philosophers alike. In the lattice of his 25th principle, we find not only a map of cosmos but a mirror for the human conditions. Kapil's gift was not the courage to think systematically, to trust reason alongside devotion, and to see the liberation as the fruit of knowledge. His Sankhya reminds us one of the humanity's earliest and most profound attempt to understand existence. In 2026, as we decode genomes and program a machine, his wisdoms reminds us the dance of matter is endless. But the witness, the Purush, remains untouched, eternal and free. So we have come to the end of this live stream. Please like and subscribe our channel, and we look forward for your comments on this topic. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the grand tapestry of India's scientific heritage, Bhaskar II shines not merely as a mathematician and astronomer of 12th century, but as a visionary whose idea pulse with the relevance even in 2026. Known as Bhaskaracharya, he was no commentator like Bhaskar I, but a creator, an architect of original thought who dared to see the infinity in numbers and in harmony in heavens. His Siddhanta Shiromani was more than a trustee. It was a symphony of arithmetic, algebra, astronomy, geometry, weaving poetry with precision. Centuries before Newton, Bhaskar glimpsed the essence of calculus, describing the rate of change and infinitesimals with startling clarity. So let's find out more about him. Bhaskar II, often honored with the title Bhaskaracharya, teacher Bhaskar, stands as one of the towering figure of India's mathematical and astronomical tradition. Living in 12th century CE, he carried forward the legacy of Aryabhat and Brahmagupta, but with a brilliance that gave his work a distinct identity. Unlike Bhaskar I, who was primarily a commentator on Aryabhat's treatises, Bhaskar II was a creator of original systems, a synthesizer of knowledge, and a visionary whose insight continues to ripple through the corridors of science even in 2026. His magnum opus, the Siddhanta Shiromani, is divided into 4 parts. First is Leelavati. If we translate it in English, it is arithmetic. Then Bij Ganit, that is algebra, and Grah Ganit, that is astronomy, and the Gola Adhyay, that is sphere. So each section reveals a mind deeply attuned to both the abstract and the elegance of mathematics and the practical demands of astronomy. In Leelavati, that is arithmetic, Bhaskar II introduced a problem that blended poetic imagination with rigorous calculation, making mathematics not only a discipline of logic but also a craft of beauty. And his algebraic treatise, Bij Ganit, advanced method of solving equation, including work of quadratic and the indeterminate equation, laying the foundation of that kind of calculation and that kind of maths that resonate with the modern algorithm and thinking, mathematical thinking. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward on Bhaskar II, perhaps the most striking was his grasp of calculus centuries before Newton. And Bhaskar II described the concept akin to derivatives, and not that the rate of change of a planet's position could be understood through the infinitesimal increments. And his recognition of the principle that a quantity can approach zero yet refrain the meaning was a profound leap, anticipating the calculus that now underpins the physics, engineering, and the artificial intelligence. In 2026, as the humanity builds quantum computers and design AI systems that rely on continuous optimization, the Bhaskar's early vision of limits and the change feel astonishingly precise and prevalent, and definitely it is a theory, it is a concept which is strikingly very modern. So, in his astronomical contribution were equally transformative because now Bhaskar II refined the planetary models, calculated the eclipse with the remarkable accuracy, and emphasized the cycle nature of celestial phenomena. He understood the gravity as the force pulling objects towards the earth, a concept, a seed that would later blossom in Newton's formulations. For future generation, his insistence on precision and his blend of observation with the theory remain model of scientific integrity. In an age where the space exploration and the satellite navigation defined the global progress, Bhaskar's method reminds us that the root of orbital mechanism stretch deep into India's intellectual soil. The importance of Bhaskar's second work for 2026 and beyond lies not only in its historical brilliance but in its enduring relevance. His approach, integrating imagination, rigors, and applicability, offers a template for modern science education. As we confront the challenges from climate modeling to AI ethics, his example teaches that mathematics is not merely a tool but a language of truth, capable of bridging the infinite and the practical. For young learners, his poetic problem in Leelavati showed that the creativity and the calculation are not opposite but a partner. For researchers, his proto-calculus demonstrate that innovation often begins with the daring to see the pattern where the other see the chaos. So Bhaskar II's legacy is thus a beacon of future generation. He reminds us that science is a continuum where the ancient insight can illuminate the modern frontiers. So in 2026, as humanity stands at the threshold of interplanetary travel and the artificial intelligence, Bhaskar's voice echoes across the centuries. And that knowledge, when pursued with imagination and discipline, can transcend into time, culture, and geography. And his contribution are not a relic of the past, but a living principle, urging us to carry forward the torch of discovery with humility and definitely a wonder. Now, Bhaskar's second brilliance was not confined to 12th century. It is a vision cast forward into the ages, and his Siddhant Shurumani reminds and remain a living testament that science is continuum where the ancient insight can illuminate modern frontiers. In 2026, as humanity codes algorithm, explore distant planet and builds a quantum machine, his proto-calculus and the astronomical precision remind us that the roots of innovation lies deep in our shared heritage. For future generation, Bhaskaracharya's legacy is more than a history. It is a guiding light, urging us to blend creativity with rigor, imagination with discipline, and to carry forward the eternal dialogue between numbers and the cosmos. His work endures a promise that the knowledge, when pursued with wonder, can transcend into centuries and shape the destiny of tomorrow. So, we have come to the end of this video. We look forward for your comment on this subject. Please like and subscribe our channel and look forward in the next one. But before we end, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskaram. Let me ask you, are the entry level jobs actually disappearing? The traditional path from graduation to a starter job is undergoing a massive transformation as we speak. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into how the automation and AI are reshaping the entry level positions, what this means for youth unemployment, and how you can future proof your career in this shifting landscape. The job market is changing and the ladder looks totally different than it appeared 5 years ago. Whether you are a student or a recent graduate or looking to pivot your career, understanding these structural changes is very essential for your success. Let's go and discuss this further. If you have been on a job hunt lately, you know the feeling. You find a job description that says entry level. You get excited. You read the requirement and it says bachelor degrees, 3 to 5 years of experience, proficiency in 4 different software suites, and proven track records of project management. You look at the entry level title and then you look at the list of demands, and the math just don't add up. It feels like a bad joke. But here is a reality, it's not just a bad hiring practice, it is a fundamental shift in the economy. Today, we are talking about the death of the traditional entry level job. We are going to look at why your first job seems to be disappearing, how AI and automations rules are rewriting the various employment rules. The most importantly, how you can actually get your foot in the door when the door seems to be locked from inside. So friends, if you've reached so far, please let me know from which city or country you're watching us. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. All right, let's proceed further. For decades, the career ladder was simple. You graduate, you get an entry level job, you learn the ropes, and you move up. Companies viewed entry level workers as investment. They were willing to pay to train you because eventually you would become a mid level expert. But something changed. We have seen the hollowing out of the middle class, but we are now seeing the hollowing out of the beginning of the career itself. Why is this happening? There are three reasons. First, AI and automation. The task that used to be the training wheel of a job, data entry, basic research, scheduling, drafting simple emails, are now being done instantly by AI. The proficiency mandate is the second one. In an era of the high interest rate and pressure for short term profit, companies don't want to pay to train someone for 6 months. They want a plug and play employee who can hit the ground running on day one. Next is outsourcing. Why hire a junior in a high cost city when you can contract a task to a specialized agency or an overseas freelancer for a fraction of a cost? This leads us to the dreaded experience trap. You can't get a job without the experience, and you can't get experience without a job. This is creating a dangerous ripple effect. If companies stop hiring juniors, who is going to learn the skill to become the seniors of tomorrow? We are essentially creating a generation of workers who are being bypassed by automation before they even get a chance to show what they can do. But here is the critical part. This isn't just about bad hiring managers, it's a structural change. The market has shifted towards skill based hiring rather than role based hiring. Companies are becoming less interested in your degree or your job title. They are becoming obsessed with your specific demonstrable skills. So, if the traditional entry level ladder is broken, what do? You stop looking for a ladder and start looking for a web. You need to stop selling yourself as a candidate and start selling yourself as a problem solver. Here is how you win in this new environment. First, build yourself, don't apply. If you are designer, don't just send a resume, send a link to a website you redesigned. If you are in finance, don't just say you can analyze data. Publish an analysis of a real market trend. A portfolio is the new resume. Number two, AI fluency. You are competing with AI, so you need to be the person who directs the AI. If you can show an employer how to use a tool to do work of two people, you become most valuable hire in the room. Number three, the gig entry point. Sometimes the way into the full-time role is through a contract, a freelance project, or an internship. Don't turn your nose up at small work. It is the easiest way to prove you can do the job before they hire you permanently. I know this sounds daunting. It's scary to feel like the rules of the game changed, right? So, as you stepped into the field, but I want to offer you a different perspective. The gatekeeper are losing their power. The old world, you needed a manager to give you a job. Today, the tools to build, create, and launch are cheaper and more accessible than they were ever before in human history. You don't need an entry level job at a big corporation to prove your worth. You can prove your worth before you ever step into the office. That's the power. It's more work, yes, but it's more autonomy at the same time. The entry level jobs isn't dead, but the do nothing entry level job is actually over. Uh, and the one where you just show up and learn by osmosis is absolutely fading away. If you want to survive and thrive, you have to be architect of your own experience. Start the project, learn the software, build the portfolio. I put together a list of resources in the description below, including platforms where you can start finding these skills first and project to build your experience. So, if you're feeling the pressure of the job hunt, you aren't alone. Drop the comment below. What is the craziest requirement you have seen in a job lately? Uh, in a job posting lately. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Wish you all the best. Every CEO knows the feeling. It is 2 p.m. and the market is dipping. A key executive just resigned and your board is asking for a pivot. In this movement, your heart rates climb and your mind starts to race. You feel the waver. Most leadership training tells you to look outward for a solution, analyzing the data, check the competition, pivot the strategy. But ancient wisdom suggests that the most effective leader don't look out, they look inwards. Today we are exploring a profound lesson from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 21. It's a verse that defines the state of perfection for a yogi. But as we all see that the actual blueprint for the ultimate high pressure performance executive is very well defined in this particular verse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse itself. It says, on attaining perfection, the yogi sees the soul through the purified mind and experience inner joy. In this joyous state of pure bliss or samadhi, which is beyond comprehension of the senses, he never wavers from the path. And the quote close. There are three key pillars here that applies directly to you as a leader. Number one is the purified mind. So in business, we call this clarity. Number two is beyond the senses. In business, we call this vision. And number three is the unwavering path. And in business, we call this execution. The verse suggests that never wavering isn't a result of willpower or being tough. It's a result of a specific internal state called samadhi. The verse states, with seeing through purified mind, what does a dirty or a cluttered mind look like for a CEO? It's a mind filled with noise, fear of failure, the egos, and need for validation. Also, distraction of the short-term gains. All the distraction that you may get because of the short-term gains. When your mind is cluttered, you aren't seeing reality. You are seeing a projection of the reality. You react to the news rather than responding to the truth. Learning in the context of this verse isn't about reading more spreadsheets. It's about purifying the lens. When a leader purifies their mind through meditation, reflection, or radical honesty, they see the soul of the business. They see the core purpose, and when you see the core clearly, the external chaos loses its power, which would eventually distracted you. But then you are, saving yourself from that distraction. Next, the Gita mentions a joy that is beyond comprehension of the senses. This is the part which most business schools miss. We are taught to rely entirely on our senses. What we can see in a report, hear in a meeting, or touch in a product. But the most iconic leaders think like Steve Jobs, Indra Nooyi, or Howard Schultz often made their biggest move based on something beyond the senses. They had an inner conviction that defied the current data. Bhagavad Gita calls this samadhi. For a CEO, this is the flow state. It is that moment where you are so aligned with your purpose that you experience a quiet inner joy even in the middle of a crisis. Why is this joy important? Because if your happiness depends on your stock price, which is a sensory input, you will waver every time the market fluctuates. But if your joy comes from an internal alignment with your mission, you become a bulletproof CEO. The final promise of the verse is the most important, and that is, he never wavers from the path. In the corporate world, wavering is expensive. It leads to confused teams, wasted resources, and lost market share. Leaders waver because they are searching for external certainty. But as verse 21 teaches us, certainty is an inside job. When you have experienced that inner joy and pure bliss of clarity, you no longer need the world to tell you that you are right? You stay the course because you know the course. This isn't stubbornness. Stubbornness is an ego-driven refusal to change. Unwavering leadership is a soul-driven commitment to a truth that you have perceived through clear mind. So how do you apply this today? You don't need to move to Himalayas to find that state, you find it in the micro moments of your day. Before your next meeting, take 2 minutes to purify the lens. Strip away the ego and the fear. Ask, what is the core truth here? When things go wrong, check your joy. If your peace is gone, you have slipped back into the world of senses. Reconnect with your why. Commit to the path. Once you see the truth through a clear mind, trust it. The best leaders never waver because they aren't following the world. They are leading from a place where the world cannot touch them. So, friends, go forth and lead with that unshakable clarity. We have come to the end of our lesson today. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the vast orchestra of human brain, not every instrument plays with equal resilience. Some neuron hum steadily through life's symphony, while other trembles at the faintest discord. The multiple sclerosis, long seen as a sweeping storm against the nervous system, is now revealed to the strike with the selective fury, targeting the most fragile player in this ensemble. New research uncovered that the certain brain cells stretched thin by their energy demand and delicate architectures are far more vulnerable to the disease relentless assault. And this discovery reframes MS as a uniform battle, but as a war fought on unseen terrain where the weakest link determine the fate of the whole. So let's find out more. Multiple sclerosis, MS, has been understood as a disease of the immune system gone awry, stripping away the protective myelin sheath that insulate the nerve fiber. Yet, despite the decades of research, one question has lingered. Why do certain regions of the brain and the spinal cord suffers more damage than the others? Recent findings have begun to illuminate this mystery, revealing that not all brain cells are equal in their vulnerability. Some neurons, by virtue of their structure, function, or metabolic demands, appear to be more immune to a kind of destructive cascade of MS than others. The study in question used advanced imaging and molecular profiling to map the landscape of neuronal damage in MS patients. Researchers discovered that the specific populations of neurons, particularly those involved in long range communication across the brain, showed heightened sensitivity to the inflammatory attacks. And these cells, often with the extended axon stretching across multiple brain regions, requires enormous amount of energy to maintain the signaling. When the inflammation disrupts their metabolic balance, they flatter more quickly than the shorter, more localized neuron. And this vulnerability may explain why MS patient often experience symptoms tied to coordination, vision, or cognitions, and the very function that rely on these long, energy hungry neutral pathways. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, moving forward, another striking revelation was the role of oligodendrocytes, the cells responsible for producing myelin. Not all oligodendrocytes are created equal. Some subtypes appear more resilient, capable of remyelinating damaged axon, while the other succumb rapidly to the immune assault. The uneven distribution of these cell types across the brain may carry hotspot of vulnerability, regions where the damage accumulate faster and recover lag behind. So these cellular patchwork could amount for the unpredictable progression of MS. Where one patient experienced sudden vision loss while the other struggles with the motor control. The finding also highlight the importance of mitochondrial health. Neurons with weaker mitochondrial reserve and tiny powerhouses that fuel cellular activities were disproportionately affected. And in MS, inflammatory molecules can impair the mitochondrial functions, leading to energy shortage. For neurons already operating at the edge of their metabolic capacity, this shortage is catastrophic. And they lose the ability to transmit signals effectively or contributing to the neurological deficient that define the disease. So, from the therapeutic perspective, these insights are profound. If certain neurons and oligodendrocytes are more vulnerable, treatment could be tailored to protect or bolster them specifically. For instance, the drug that enhance mitochondrial resilience or promote the survival of the remyelinating oligodendrocytes might slow disease progression. Similarly, the therapies that reduce the inflammatory burden on the long-range neuron could preserve the critical functions like memory and the motor coordinations. The research suggests a shift from the broad immunosuppression towards the precision strategies that safeguard the brain's most fragile components. So beyond the lab, these implications ripple into the living or lived experience of MS patients. Understanding why certain patients or why certain symptoms emerge and persist offers validation for those whose struggles have seen more profound, more implicable diseases and the way they they actually respond to the drugs. So it is. It also opens opens the door to more personalized prognosis. The clinicians may one day predict which functions are most at risk in a given patient based on their cellular vulnerability profile. So, such a foresight could guide rehabilitation, lifestyle adjustments, and psychological support, making the journey with the MS less uncertain. The discovery that some brain cells are inherently more vulnerable reframes MS not just as a immune disorder but as a condition of cellular fragility. It underscores the delicate balance that sustains brain function and how easily it can be tipped by inflammation. And in doing so, it brings hope that by identifying and protecting the brain's weak link, science may one day transform MS from a relentless disease into a manageable condition. So, in the end, what these discoveries reveal is not just the fragility of certain neurons, but the resilience of science itself. By uncovering the weak link in the brain's vast network, researchers are charting a path towards precision therapies that protect the most vulnerable cells and multiple sclerosis, once seen as a uniform storm, now emerge as a selective battle, one that can be fought with a sharper insight and targeted care. The story of MS is no longer only about the loss. It is about the possibility of safeguarding the brain's delicate symphony and ensuring that even its quickest note continue to play. So now we have come to the end of this discussion. Look forward for your comments on this subject. Thanks for watching, and feel free to put your questions regarding today's content. Please subscribe our channel and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, the big question today that we need to address is that has the oil market just entered a new era of volatility? Very profound question because it affects guys like you and me. And therefore in this video we are going to understand and analyze the historic shift for the global energy. After the UAE has officially exited OPEC Plus as of May 1st, 2026. Following this departure, 7 core OPEC Plus members, including Saudi and Russia, have announced an output increase and taking it to 188,000 barrels per day. And this is for June. But the Strait of Hormuz is still impacted because of the regional conflict. So, are they preparing for some new opportunities in month of June? And what is going on here? Let us discuss this further. The unthinkable just happened in the world of global energy. As of May 1st, 2026, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, the cartel third largest producer, has officially walked away from OPEC Plus. This isn't just a policy disagreement, it's a fundamental divorce that has left the world's most powerful energy alliance completely fractured. But here is the real shocker. Within 48 hours of UAE departure, the remaining members of OPEC Plus met virtually and announced an immediate output increase, taking it to 188,000 barrels per day for month of June. Why would OPEC Plus increase supply the moment one of its biggest players left? Is this a desperate move to show that they still call the shots? Or is the world heading towards a massive oil glut? Today we are going to break down the UAE exit, the new production target, and why the global oil uncertainty is at the record high. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. First, we have to understand why the UAE left. For years, there has been simmering tension between Abu Dhabi and Riyadh. The UAE has invested over 150 billion into its state-owned oil company known as ADNOC to boost production capacity to 5 million barrels per day by 2027. However, under the OPEC Plus quotas, they were stuck producing around 3.6 million barrels. The UAE Energy Minister and the entire ministry finally called it a strategic imperative. They wanted the flexibility to produce what they want, when they want, especially to fund their transition to a post-oil economy. And therefore, with all this drama unfolding, what is the impact? The impact is, because the UAE has left, UAE has also exited QOPEC, the Organization of the Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries. They are essentially betting on themselves. They have become completely independent as an oil producer. As an independent player, they can now negotiate bilateral deals with countries like India or Germany without waiting for a green light from a committee in Vienna. On Sunday, which is May 3rd, the new OPEC Plus met for the first time without the UAE. The result, a collective decision to raise output by 188,000 barrels per day in June. This is the third consecutive monthly increase, but there is a catch. This hike is actually smaller than 206,000 barrels per day increase we saw in May. Why? Because the UAE share has been completely removed from the calculation. The 7 countries, including this charge, and they're calling the shots, are Saudi, Russia, which are the two big, heavy hitters, Iraq, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman. And there are analysts who are now calling this move as symbolic. OPEC Plus want to signal to the market that the alliance is still stable and that they are gradually unwinding their voluntary cuts they started back in 2023. Now, you might be thinking, if they are pumping more oil, shouldn't the price be dropping? Well, it's complicated. Since the conflict involving Iran began on February 28, the Strait of Hormuz has been effectively restricted. This is the world's most critical choke point. Even if the OPEC says they are increasing production on paper, those barrels can't easily reach the global market if the shipping lanes are blocked. Because of this, the Brent crude is still sitting near $108 per barrel. The US WTI is around $101 per barrel. Both are up nearly 78% since the start of 2026. The only thing keeping prices from going even higher is a recent peace proposal from Iran, which gave the market a tiny bit of hope at the end of the last week. So where does this leave us? OPEC Plus is now a 21 member group, and its influence is arguably at its lowest point in a decade. The UAE exit has created a fundamental challenge to the cartel's ability to balance the market. If the Strait of Hormuz reopens, the UAE is poised to flood the market with their 5 million barrel capacity, which could lead to a massive price crash. But for now, OPEC Plus is trying to maintain the illusion of control with these modest 188,000 barrel hike. The bottom line is the oil unit we have known for years is gone. We are entering an era of every nation for itself. So what do you think, friends? Will the UAE exit lead to lower prices at the pump, or will the regional conflict keep the energy cost high for rest of 2026? Let me know what are your thoughts and also your opinion, and if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the global energy market, and I will see you in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends. All of us sometimes get this feeling that our technical expertise or our hustle hold us back from our true potential for the true leadership. Everybody gets this kind of a feeling. Therefore, we dive deep into the most powerful leadership secrets from Bhagavad Gita. In a verse where Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna tells Arjun, "Oh Arjun, be a yogi." But what does this mean for a modern CEO or an entrepreneur to be a yogi? Today, we are going to break down why the yogi, the leader with disciplined equanimity, consistently outperform the 3 most common type of executive. Let's go. In the modern corporate world, we are taught that to win, you must be a specialist. You must be the smartest person in the room, the hardest worker in the office, or the most disciplined follower of the playbook. We obsess over KPIs, data points, and 80-hour work week. But have you ever noticed that even the most brilliant specialists eventually hit a ceiling? They burn out. They get blindsided by market shifts. They lose their team. Why? Because they are missing what ancient wisdom calls the unfair advantage. Over 7,000 years ago, on a battlefield far removed from the modern glass-walled boardrooms, a guide named Bhagwan Krishna gave a piece of advice to a leader in crisis. That advice is found in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 46, and it says, quote starts, "The yogi is superior to the ascetic. He is deemed superior even to the man of knowledge, and he is superior to the man of ritual action. Therefore, O Arjun, be a yogi. Today we are going to translate this ancient code into a roadmap for the 21st century leadership. We are going to explore why a yogi beats a specialist every single time. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Moving on, what are the different kinds of most common executives? First is aesthetic, which in Sanskrit known as tapasvi. In Gita, tapasvi is someone who practices extreme self-denial. In the corporate world, this is the grind culture CEO. They are the first one in and last one out. They sacrifice sleep, family, health. They believe that if they just suffer more than the competition, they will win. But Krishna warns us, sheer endurance without balance leads to a narrow vision. Number 2 is Jnani, which is the man of knowledge. This is the data-driven specialist, the CEO with Ivy League pedigree and the analytics mind that can spot a trend in a spreadsheet from miles away. They have the facts, but they often lack wisdom. They are paralyzed by the data if the data is missing, and they often struggle to connect with the human element of their business. Number 3 is Karmi, the man of ritual action. This is a process-driven executive. They live by SOPs. They believe that if the ritual of the business, which is the meeting, the reports, different kinds of pyramids, bell curve, if they are followed perfectly, success is guaranteed. But when the world changes, they are too rigid to pivot. Bhagwan Krishna says yogi is better than all three. Why? Because the yogi CEO is a leader who has mastered their inner environment. They don't just possess knowledge, they possess clarity. They don't just work hard, they work purposefully. They don't just follow process, they follow a vision. A yogi's unfair advantage is equanimity. Think about the last time your company faced a crisis. Did you react out of fear? Did you make desperate move based on a dip in the stock prices? A yogi CEO operates from the neutral center. They are not swayed by the high of massive profit or low of the market crash. While everyone else is reacting, the yogi is responding. This isn't about being passive, it's about being so internally grounded that your decision making becomes clinical, fast, and remarkably accurate. That is the definition of the competitive edge. There are several things we can actually discuss around this, but I want to be brief. And therefore, the first advice I want to give you is the cognitive flexibility. The specialist is a hammer, and to them, every problem looks like a nail. But a yogi isn't attached to one way of thinking because they aren't defined by their expertise. They can see the whole board. They can integrate the hard work of aesthetic and the data of Jnani and the process of Karmi without being enslaved by any of them. Second is the emotional intelligence. The yogi understand that a business is just a collection of human beings. By mastering their own minds, they naturally become master of empathy. They can read the room, they can inspire a team during a pivot because they aren't projecting their own anxiety onto other subordinates. Third, sustainable high performance. The ascetic CEO eventually burns out. The yogi CEO understands the rhythm of action and reset. They operate with sense of detachment and therefore detached engagement. They care deeply about results, but they aren't consumed by them. This detachment actually allows them to perform better because they aren't choked by the fear of failure. So how do we become a yogi CEO? Very big question, right? Let's start. It starts with realization that your most important business tool isn't your laptop, your network, or your bank account. It is your own mind. As verse 46 concludes, It says, therefore be a yogi, O Arjun. Very, very, it's like a proverb. Be a yogi, O Arjun. Such few words, but very profound meaning. This is a call to action for every leader. Don't just be a worker. Don't just be an expert. Don't just be a bureaucrat. Cultivate the discipline of the mind. Practice the equanimity that allows you to see through the noise of the market. Lead from a place of stillness, and you will find the impossible problems starting to solve themselves. The specialist sees the obstacle, the yogi sees the path. Which one will you be? Let me know in the comments below. Before I part ways today, a few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, welcome to this high-level executive briefing. We explore the profound leadership wisdom found in Bhagavad Gita. While the modern corporate culture often drives leaders towards external validation and endless doing within quotes, this ancient verse reveals that the most effective leadership comes from a state of internal being. The inside out executive breaks down how the concept of the yogi, one who is happy within and flooded with self-enlightenment, translate directly to the modern C-suite. Learn how to translate and transition from reactive management to proactive sovereignty. Let us explore this thought further. Welcome once again. We live in an era of the extreme leadership. We are taught that more we do, more we achieve. We track KPIs, market share, and quarterly growth. But there is a paradox at the top. Many executives have reached the pinnacle of the material success while, they feel more hollow than when they started. Why is it, that more we gain on the outside, the more we feel we are losing on the inside? Today we are, looking for the answers in a 7,000-year-old text. We are exploring Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 24. It offers a blueprint of what I call the inside-out executive. Let's look at the verse itself, and Bhagwan Krishna says, and the quote starts, "A yogi is happy within. He sees God within himself. He is flooded with self-enlightenment. He attains the liberation from material existence and unite with the divine. And the quote close. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this live stream. This will help us determine our reach. Alright, let's proceed further. To the modern CEO, words like yogi or divine might feel distant. But let's translate this into a language of the leadership. A yogi is simply a person of the perfected discipline. Happy within himself means you are emotional, in your emotional state is no longer a hostage to the stock market or a boardroom meeting. Flooded with self-enlightenment is what we now call high-level intuition and clarity. This verse isn't about retiring to a cave, it's about becoming an unshakable in the boardroom. Most leaders are outside in. If the company performs, they are happy. If the media criticize them, they are miserable. Their internal world is a mirror of their external environment. The inside out executive flips the script. Verse 5.24 tells us that the source of joy must be internal. When you are happy within, you lead from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You aren't making decisions because you are afraid of losing your status. You are making them because they are the right thing to do. This is where the self-enlightenment comes in. When the noise of ego and anxiety is silenced, you gain the quiet mind. In that quiet, you see the God within, or in professional terms, you access your highest intelligence. Now let's talk about the most provocative word in this verse, liberation. In the Gita, this is the moksha, which is freedom from cycle of birth and death. For an executive, this is freedom from the material grind. Think about it. How much of your stress comes from things you cannot control? The economy, the competition, the global supply chain. Liberation means you are no longer a slave to these outcomes. You perform your dharma, which is your duty, with 100% intensity, but your soul isn't crushed if the result fluctuate. Ironically, this detachment makes you more powerful. A leader who doesn't need a specific outcome to feel whole is the most dangerous person in a negotiation. You have nothing to lose because your fulfillment is already locked in internal space. So how do we apply this tomorrow morning, right? First, the morning audit. Before you check your emails, which is coming from outside, check your inside. Spend 5 minutes in silence. Find that internal happiness before the world try to give you its version of it. Alright? Number 2, intellectual detachment. During a crisis, ask yourself, is my happiness based on solving this, or is my happiness constant while I solve this? Right? Number 3 is lead by light. So verse 5.24 mentioned about flooded with light. Be the leader who brings clarity to the room, not heat. If you are enlightened within, you illuminate the path for everyone else. The verse ends by saying the yogi unite with the divine. In leadership, this is the union of the purpose and action. When your internal state matches your external impact, you aren't just working anymore, you are fulfilling your mission. So don't just lead a company, lead yourself first. Be the inside out executive. And friends, we have come to the end. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for your time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before we end this section, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, did you know that Oracle just secured a massive $300 million windfall and the cloud computing landscape will never be the same? In this video, we break down how Larry Ellison's tech giant pulled off this incredible financial feat and what it means for the escalating cloud wars against the giants like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. As the enterprise demand for AI integrated cloud infrastructure skyrockets, Oracle positions itself as a dominant force. We will analyze the specific deals that led to this jackpot, the impact on Oracle's stock, and why the analysts are shifting their outlook on the company's long-term growth. Let's go and explore this further. For decades, the cloud wars had a predictable hierarchy. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google sat on the throne while everyone else fought, for the crumbs. But in late 2025 and moving into 2026, the script has been flipping. In fact, it has flipped completely now. Oracle, the company your dad knew for databases, just hit another 300 billion jackpot. This isn't just a win, it's a tectonic shift. We are talking about a massive multi-year deal with OpenAI that has sent Oracle's backlog or remaining performance obligations soaring to an eye-watering $553 billion. Today we are diving into the new Oracle. How did Larry Ellison turn a legacy software company into the backbone of the AI revolution. Is this 300 billion windfall a guaranteed victory, or is Oracle building a house of cards on the back of a single customer? So friends, before we move forward, and if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this live stream. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's break it down. To understand the jackpot, we have to look at the numbers. The headline is $300 billion. 5-year contract with OpenAI. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 60 billion in revenue per year from just one client. Why would OpenAI, a company born in Microsoft Azure's cloud, move a massive chunk of its workload to Oracle? The answer is simple: capacity and power. OpenAI's hunger for compute is insatiable. They need electricity and lots of it. This deal involves 4.5 gigawatts of power capacity. That's enough to power 4 million homes. Oracle isn't just renting out existing space, they are building massive new AI factories under a project often referred to as Stargate. We are seeing brand new data centers, campuses in Texas and Ohio, packed with hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs, Oracle's secret weapon. Their infrastructure was built later than AWS and Azure. That sounds like a disadvantage, but it actually means their Gen 2 cloud was designed specifically for high performance workload and modern databases, the exact environment AI needs to thrive. But building a 300 billion cloud isn't easy. You cannot just plug 400,000 GPUs into a wall socket. The traditional power grid cannot handle this. This is where the heating up part of your title gets literal. Just this week, in April 2026, Oracle made a massive move to solve the energy crisis. They have partnered with Bloom Energy for nearly 3 gigawatts of fuel cell power. Instead of waiting for years for local utility companies to build power lines, Oracle is building its own off-grid power plant. They are literally bypassing the grid to ensure their AI servers never go dark. This level of aggressive expansion is why Oracle Cloud Infrastructure revenue jumped 84% in most recent quarter. While the big three are growing at steady clips, Oracle is growing like a startup on a steroid. Now we have to talk about the red flag, which is $300 billion. Sounds great on paper, but Wall Street is nervous. Oracle stock has been going through some intense volatility lately. Why? Because customer concentration. Over 50% of Oracle's future backlog is tied to one company, which is OpenAI. If OpenAI struggles to monetize its model, or if the AI bubble cools down, Oracle is left holding the bill for billions of dollars in hardware and in data centers. Oracle's debt to equity ratio is also significantly higher than Microsoft or Amazon. They are borrowing heavily to build this future. They are spending $50 billion in capital expenditure this year alone. It's a bet the farm movement for Larry Ellison. Is Oracle a ticking time bomb or a visionary genius? The market can't quite decide at this point in time. So where does this leave us? Oracle has officially graduated. They are no longer the database company or the fourth placed cloud. With 300 billion jackpot in hand, they are the specialized AI cloud. That's the world's most powerful startup as flocking it. The cloud war is heating up because the rules have changed. It's no longer about who has the most features. It's about who has the most GPUs and most gigawatts. And Oracle has both. If they can execute on this backlog and diversify their client base beyond OpenAI, we might be looking at the new king of enterprise tech. But if the AI hype fails to meet reality, the $300 billion windfall could become a $300 billion lesson in over expansion. One thing is certain, Oracle isn't playing it safe anymore. They are playing for the whole jackpot. So friends, what do you think? Is Oracle the best AI player in the market, or the risk is too high? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dive into the tech that is going to shape 2026 and beyond. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. For decades, the thick yellow-orange clouds of Venus have hidden a secret. While we have understood the upper atmosphere, the lower haze has remained one of the planetary science's greatest enigma until now. In this video, we dive into the groundbreaking discovery that reveals the true source of this mysterious layer, which is cosmic dust. Let's go and find this out. Venus is often called as Earth's evil twin. At first glance, it is the same size, has the same composition, and sits right next door in our solar system. But beneath that beautiful glowing facade lies a nightmare. Surface temperature hot enough to melt lead, atmospheric pressures that would crush a submarine, and thick cloud of corrosive sulfuric acid. For over 50 years since the first probe, like the US, beg your pardon, Soviet Venera and NASA's Pioneer Venus descended into the toxic soup, scientists have been haunted by the specific mystery. Most of the Venus's clouds sit between 47 and 70 kilometers up, but deep below that, below the cloud cover in the lower haze, there is a layer of mysterious particles that shouldn't be there by all accounts. And what causes these particles to float in that area, it was a mystery. So what created them? Why won't they go away? For half a century we had no answers, but today in 2026 a team of researchers from Tokou University and the Royal Belgian Institute for Space Astronomy has finally cracked the case, and the answer didn't come from the volcanoes of Venus, it came from the stars. To understand the discovery, we have to understand why the lower haze is so enigmatic in the first place. Friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this live stream. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. On Earth, clouds are simple. Water evaporates, condenses, and eventually fall as rain. On Venus, it's a cycle of sulfur. Sulfuric acid clouds dominate the upper atmosphere. However, as you go deeper towards the surface, the temperature skyrockets. By the time you get below 47 kilometers, it becomes so hot that sulfuric acid cannot exist as a liquid droplet. It evaporates into gas. Logically, the clouds should just stop, but they don't. Probes descending through this kill zone in the year 1970 and it is detected a persistent ghostly haze of solid particles. For decades, the theories flew. Was it volcanic ash being kicked up from the surface? Was it some strange chemical reaction? We didn't understand at all. None of these models worked. The math never added up until Hiroki Karayu and his team decided to look at what Venus was eating from space. Every day, every planet in our solar system is bombarded by cosmic dust, tiny fragments left behind by the comets and colliding asteroids. We see these on Earth as shooting stars. When these meteors hit an atmosphere, they burn up, creating what scientists call meteoric smoke. These are nanometer-sized mineral particles, essentially tiny bits of iron, magnesium, and silicon. The research team used a state-of-the-art microphysical model to trace the life cycle of these particles as they enter the Venusian atmosphere. Here is the aha moment. As this cosmic dust drifts down from top of the atmosphere, it enters the sulfuric acid cloud deck. Instead of just passing through these tiny mineral bits as nuclei, essentially the seeds that sulfuric acid droplets grow around, but then the particles keep falling. They reach that 47-kilometer mark where the heat becomes unbearable. The sulfuric acid shell evaporates away, but the solid mineral core, which is the cosmic dust, remains. This is where the mystery is truly solved. When the acid evaporates, it leaves behind these naked mineral cores. Because the atmosphere at this depth is so dense, these tiny particles start bumping into each other at very high rate. They don't just bounce off, they kick, they stick also. Sometimes they kick, move away and collide with other particles. This process is called the coagulation. These tiny grains of stardust clumps together to form larger, more complex particles. This is exactly what the Pioneer Venus probe saw decades ago, the haze of solid, non-volatile particles that survived the heat. The team simulation didn't just suggest this could happen. The result matched the decade-old data from Venera and the Pioneer probes with startling accuracy. After 50 years, the ghost of Venus has a name. It is the processed remains of billions of shooting stars. So, why does this matter beyond just solving an old puzzle? Because this dust isn't just a passive visitor, it is actively terraforming, or rather, Venus forming the planet's climate. The researchers found that these cosmic seeds increase Venus' total cloud production by 20 to 30%. Without this rain of space dust, Venus might have thinner clouds, which would, fundamentally change how much solar energy the planet reflects and how much heat it traps. Furthermore, these dust particles contains metallic elements like iron. This could finally explain the unknown UV absorber, the mysterious substance in Venus's cloud that sucks up ultraviolet light and has baffled astronomers for nearly a century. If the clouds are salted with iron from space, that explains the UV absorption perfectly. This discovery changes how we look at every planet. If the cosmic dust is shaping the atmosphere of Venus, it is likely doing the same for Jupiter, Saturn, and even distant exoplanets we are just now discovering. But the best part, we won't have to wait another 50 years to confirm this. In late 2020s, NASA Da Vinci mission will plunge through Venusian's atmosphere with most advanced sensors ever built. It will taste the air, measure the dust, and hopefully gives us high definition look at the cosmic haze we finally have understood now. The morning star still has many secrets, but thanks to a little bit of stardust and some brilliant modeling, one of its oldest mystery is finally put to rest. So, friends, we have come to the end, and I see Megha Sharma joining us from LinkedIn, and she is joining us from Delhi. So, Megha Sharma, great, you have informed us about your city. So, friend, we have come to the end of our live stream today. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज शनिवार का दिन है और आप सब जानते हैं कि शनिवार का जो दिन होता है वो शनि महाराज के लिए समर्पित है। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान शनि की प्रार्थना करके, पूजा करके, और हर रोज की तरह हम 11 दफा एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे। आप हमारे साथ जुड़ें और इस मंत्र को का उच्चारण आप अपने अपने वर्क स्टेशन पे, अपने अपने ऑफिस में, होम ऑफिस में करें। मैं ये काउंटर यूज करता हूँ। आप कैसे भी माला का इस्तेमाल करके या कैसे भी अपने मन में ही 11 दफे इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करना है। तो चलिए हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, भगवान का नमन करिए। ओम शनिश्चराय नमः, इस मंत्र का हमें जाप 11 दफा करना है। तो चलिए हम अब शुरू करते हैं। ओम शनिश्चराय नमः। ओम शनिश्चराय नमः। Om Shan Shanischaraय Namaha. 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 तो दोस्तों, हमारे भगवान की स्तुति जो पूजा है समाप्त हुई, और जिन लोगों की शनि की ढैया चल रही है उनके लिए बहुत ही ज़रूरी है आप हर शनिवार को इस मंत्र का जाप करें और अपना दिन शुरू करें। तो चलिए, आपका आज का दिन मंगलमय हो, इसी कामना के साथ हम इस वीडियो को समाप्त करते हैं। मिलते हैं जल्दी ही दूसरे वीडियो में। हेलो फ्रेंड्स, you're most welcome. Namaskaram. Is India on the verge of AI-led transformation with Reliance Industries leading the charge? In this video, we break down Mukesh Ambani's massive AI gambit from 2026 annual general body meeting and explore how Reliance is pivoting to become the sovereign backbone of Indian digital economy. From unveiling of Reliance Intelligence to the ambitious build out of a massive AI data center in Jamnagar powered by Nvidia, the latest hardware Ambani is being very big, betting very big, and we analyze 110 plus billion investment roadmap, the integration of AI directly into the geo network, and why Reliance is aiming to make AI for India by India a reality for 1.5 billion people. Let's go. We've all seen the news, but have we truly grasped the scale? The Reliance industry, a titan built on oil, petrochem, and retail, is making a decisive pivot. They are transitioning from telecom giant into a AI first, a group. This isn't just an upgrade; it's a aggressive, calculated AI gambit to become the sovereign backbone of India's digital economy. The question isn't whether they will do it. The question is, are they about to own the future of India's digital landscape? Today, we are deconstructing the strategy, the infrastructure, and the massive shift in the chessboard of Indian technology. Let's dive in. But before that, friends, if you have reached so far, let us know from which city you have tuned in into this particular video. Alright, let's move ahead. Let's start with a pivot. For years, Geo was about connectivity. It brought the internet to the masses, democratizing access to data. But connectivity is just a commodity. Once everyone is connected, where do you go from there? You go intelligent. Reliance currently, looking at the strategy about embedding AI into the very DNA of the network. They aren't just selling data plans anymore. They are looking to sell the utility of artificial intelligence. Think of it as a shift from electricity, where you just have the power, to smart grid that knows how to optimize your own load. By integrating AI directly into the ecosystem from Jio Bharat platform to their retail arm, they are creating a closed loop system. When you use their network, you are training their models. And when you use their models, you are staying within their network. This is a definition of the digital moat. They are moving the battlefield from the speed of your internet to the capability of AI tools you interact with every single day. If the AI is the engine, data is the fuel, and Reliance has realized something critical. You cannot rely on foreign cloud if you want to rule the Indian market. You need to become sovereign. You need to think sovereignty. And this is why the Jamnagar infrastructure plays a so significant role. We aren't talking about small server farm. We're talking about massive data centers built to house high performance computing hardware that can process AI models at very high scale. By building this sovereign AI backbone, they achieve two things. One, lower latency. Keeping the data local means faster response for the end user. Number two, data sovereignty. In a world where data privacy is the new gold, Reliance is positioning itself as a trusted custodian of Indian digital information. They are effectively building a national AI cloud. And for an enterprise to have the capital and the land to build this at a scale of a country rather than a company is a structural advantage that hard for competitors to match. And here is where the gambit becomes brilliant. Much of the global AI development happens in English for an English speaking audience. Reliance strategy is AI for India by focusing on multilingual models supporting the 22 major languages. They are unlocking the next billion users who were previously excluded from the AI revolution. This is the democratization of intelligence. Imagine a small business owner in a tier 2 city using a voice activated AI built by Reliance that handles their inventory, their accounting, and their customer queries all in their local dialect. This is not just the feature, it is an economic transformation. By lowering the barrier to entry, Reliance isn't just chasing high end, high tech market, they are capturing the entire pyramid of the Indian economy. Now, is this a guaranteed win? No. A gambit, by definition, involves sacrificing a piece to gain a dominant position. And the risks are real. What are the risks? Number one is regulatory scrutiny. As a company becomes the gatekeeper of country's digital infrastructure, regulator naturally start asking questions about the competition and their liability. Number two is execution speed. AI moves at light speed. Can a massive group maintain the agility of a startup? Number three, the competitors. We cannot forget that the global tech giants are also looking at India and they want to set up big firms in India as well. Reliance is betting that their distribution network, the fact that they are already on your phone, your stores, and your homes, is the ultimate trump card. They aren't just selling technology, they are selling the ecosystem. And in the digital age, ecosystems are how you win. To wrap up, the Ambani AI gambit is the most significant corporate shift we have seen in this decade. It's a transition from being a service provider to becoming an architect of our digital reality. Whether this lead to a new era of prosperity or a concentration of power is something we will have to watch closely. And strategy isn't about what you do today, it's about anticipating the world of tomorrow. It seems that tomorrow is being written in code right here in India. I am Chandrakant, and if you found this breakdown valuable, hit the subscribe button, join our community. We are here to decode the shifts that matter. Until next time, friends, keep thinking strategically, and I will see you very soon in the next one. हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सबका स्वागत है। हाल ही में अमेरिका और ईरान के बीच में एक डील हुई है जिसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि अब जो स्टेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज़ है पूरी तरह खुल गया है, हमारा एग्रीमेंट हो गया है। और इस खबर के आते ही जो प्राइस है क्रूड ऑयल का वो गिर गया है, $75 आ गया है। आपको पता होगा कि जो क्रूड का जो प्राइस था वो 100 के ऊपर जा रहा था, लेकिन अब 75 पे आ गया है, कल ही आया है। और ऐसा बोला जा रहा है कि और गिरेगा। तो क्योंकि प्राइस गिर रहा है, इससे क्या नए खतरे का हमें आभास हो रहा है? ऐसा है कि इस पर्टिकुलर एग्रीमेंट में कोई नया युद्ध के बारे में कुछ बातें हैं जो बाहर आ सकती हैं। तो इस वीडियो में हम इस बात का एक चर्चा करेंगे, एक डिस्कशन करेंगे कि अगर $50 से नीचे प्राइस आ गया तो दुनिया के अर्थव्यवस्था को लेके क्या चिंता करनी चाहिए, और इसके बाद कुछ और हमारे ऊपर कोई विपदा तो नहीं आने वाली है। इसके बारे में हम डिस्कशन करते हैं इस वीडियो में। तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो दोस्तों, हम सबको मालूम है कि पिछले कुछ महीनों में स्टेट ऑफ हार्मूज के आसपास क्या हुआ। अमेरिका और ईरान में आपस में लड़ाई हुई, और पहले तो ईरान ने स्टेट ऑफ हार्मूज को बंद किया, इधर उधर बमबारी की। उसके बाद अमेरिका ने उसको बंद कर दिया, करीब 1 महीने से ज़्यादा हो गया अमेरिका ने उसमें ब्लॉकेड लगाया हुआ है। उसकी वजह से जो क्रूड ऑयल का प्राइस है वो आसमान छू गया, 110 120 तक पहुंच गया। और आप देखिए, अगर आप इस जियो पॉलिटिक्स में कुछ रुचि रखते हैं तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि जो क्रूड ऑयल है उसके सबसे बड़े बायर कौन है दुनिया में। अफ्रीका के कंट्रीज नहीं है, अमेरिका भी एक बड़ा बायर है, लेकिन उसके पास तो ऑयल है काफ़ी, काफ़ी दुनिया का ऑयल कंट्रोल करता है। और सबसे जो बड़े बायर हैं जिनके पास ऑयल नहीं है वो है चाइना और इंडिया। तो ये दो देशों को काफ़ी महंगा ऑयल खरीदना पड़ा पिछले कुछ महीनों में, और फिर काफ़ी जद्दोजहद हुई, कोई कहीं से खरीद रहा है, कोई कहीं से खरीद रहा है। तो इंडिया ने भी ये सब काम किए। तो बहरहाल सब लोग जो ऑयल प्रोड्यूस करते हैं इंक्लूडिंग रशिया, दे वर वेरी हैप्पी कि भाई प्राइस बढ़ गया तो हम पैसे कमा रहे हैं। तो ये जो लड़ाई हो रही थी उसके ऊपर से ये बात करते थे कि भाई बुरी बात है, बुरी बात है, लेकिन अंदर अंदर बड़े खुश हो रहे थे। अब क्या हुआ है कि पिछले 2 दिनों में खबर आ रही है कि अमेरिका और ईरान का जो एग्रीमेंट है वो पूरा हो चुका है, और खबर आते ही प्राइस जो है ऑयल का एकदम $75 आ गया। कल के मैं रेट बता रहा हूँ, आज का मैंने अभी चेक नहीं किया है, लेकिन कल $75 आ गया। $75 एकदम से गिरावट आई है। तो जो पैसे जो कमा रहे थे, जो कंट्रीज जो खुश थे, पैसे कमा रहे थे, लेकिन ऊपर ऊपर से दिखा रहे थे शांति होनी चाहिए, ब्ला ब्ला बोल रहे थे, लेकिन अब वो $75 आ गया तो उनकी इनकम में थोड़ी गिरावट आएगी। और कॉन्सिक्वेंटली क्या होगा कि जो मेजर बायर है विच इज़ इंडिया और चाइना, इनको थोड़ी राहत मिलेगी। तो ये गिरावट जो आ रही है, और अगर ये सब ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो बिल्कुल गिर के, ऐसा बोला जा रहा है, कुछ विशेषज्ञ बोल रहे हैं कि ये $50 तक आ सकती है। जब $50 आ जाएगा तो मतलब जो अभी तक पैसे कमा रहे थे उसके आधे ही कमा पाएंगे। जो ऑयल प्रोड्यूसिंग नेशंस हैं उनके आधे ही कमा पाएंगे, तो उसकी वजह से उनकी आमदनी कम हो जाएगी, उनके पैसे कम हो जाएंगे। तो क्या ये जो ड्रॉप है या जो एग्रीमेंट है ये परमानेंट है, या किसी और नए गंभीर किसी स्थिति की चेतावनी देता है? तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं तो हमें कमेंट करके ज़रूर बताएं कि आप किस शहर से हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। सबसे पहले ये समझना जरूरी है कि हम यहाँ तक पहुँचे कैसे। फरवरी में अमेरिका और के बीच में सैन्य वार्ता हुई जो विफल हुई, फिर उनकी लड़ाई हुई, फिर चेक पॉइंट बनाए गए, और उसके बाद ये बोला गया कि ये कंट्रीज़ को अलाउड है, इनको नहीं अलाउड है, अमेरिका को अलाउड नहीं है, चाइना और इंडिया को अलाउड है। बैकडोर बहुत डिस्कशन चल रहा था, और जो देश ऐसा लग रहा था जो ईरान के दुश्मन है नेबरहुड के अंदर, जैसे कतर है, यूएई, वो भी अपने बैकडोर डिस्कशन कर रहे थे, और कोई नहीं चाहता था कि वहाँ पे और तबाही हो, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली अगर वहाँ तबाही होगी तो ऑयल का प्राइस, जो ग्लोबल ऑयल का प्राइस है, आसमान छू देगा। तो उसके बाद धीरे धीरे वो कंट्रोल रिएक्शन चलता रहा, एक दूसरे को धमकियां देते रहे लोग, लेकिन फाइनली कल जाके डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने बोला है कि हमारा वर्बल एग्रीमेंट हो गया है। हालांकि अभी ये साइन नहीं हुआ है, वर्बल एग्रीमेंट हो गया है। जैसे ही ये खबर आई प्राइस एकदम नीचे लुढ़क गया, $75 हो गया, विच इज़ रीजनेबल। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि अच्छी बात है कि बुरी बात है, लेकिन क्योंकि अब प्राइस कम हो रहे हैं जिससे अमेरिका को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। प्राइस कम होने से अमेरिका को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बिकॉज अमेरिका के पास तो सऊदी का ऑयल है उनके पास। ईरान के साथ अब दोस्ती हो गई है, अभी साइन होना बाकी है, लेकिन वेनेजुएला का जो टॉप ग्रेड ऑयल है वो उनके पास है। फर्क पड़ता है ब्राज़ील, इजराइल और सऊदी को, तो उनके पैसे कम हो रहे हैं। तो उसकी वजह से अब क्या होगा आगे, क्या होगा, दोबारा से कुछ देश नाखुश हो जाएंगे और लड़ाई पे जाने की बात करेंगे, या जो जियोपॉलिटिक्स है वो एक नया रूप लेगा, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जो 75% दुनिया का जो ट्रेड होता है, ग्लोबल ट्रेड, वो ऑयल ही होता है। हम जो रोजेस और टी और जो भी और चीज़ें हैं जो हम बिजनेस करते हैं कंट्रीज आपस में, वो कुछ भी नहीं है कंपेयर टू द ऑयल ट्रेड। सो जितना भी हमारा मैरीटाइम जो हमारा ट्रैफिक चलता है अटलांटिक में और इंडियन ओशन में, उसमें 75% आर दी ऑयल टैंकर्स। तो जो रिस्क प्रीमियम है वो भी अब ख़त्म हो गया, अब शांति हो गई है, और दोनों देशों ने अनाउंस कर दिया है कि अब हम 1 महीने के अंदर, 30 दिनों के अंदर स्ट्रेट ऑफ हार्मोज बिल्कुल पूरी तरह हर एक के लिए खुल जाएगा, कोई टोल टैक्स नहीं दिया जाएगा, और सब कुछ खत्म, मतलब जो लड़ाई थी वो सब खत्म हो गई है। अब आप इमेजिन करें, जो चीज़ें मैंने आपको बताई हैं कि अगर प्राइस कम होता रहा तो $50 आ जाएगा, इसका मतलब कि जो उन्नति कर रहे देश हैं चाइना और इंडिया, उनको काफ़ी फ़ायदा होगा, और जो देश जो ऑयल प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं उनको काफ़ी नुकसान हो जाएगा, और उनके अंदर 1-1.5 साल के अंदर ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो उनका जो पोजीशन है, ग्लोबल पोजीशन थोड़ा कम हो जाएगा। तो अभी देखना हमें ये है कि अगर ये डील फेल हो गई किसी वजह से सबसे बड़ा क्रॉनिक जो पॉइंट है इसमें वो ये है कि अमेरिका नहीं चाहता कि ईरान के पास एटॉमिक पावर बने। तो क्या वो अपना एम्बिशन छोड़ देंगे? क्या वो कुछ और बैकग्राउंड एक्टिविटी करेंगे? क्योंकि इस चीज़ के अंदर दुनिया के देशों में काफ़ी बैकग्राउंड डिस्कशन और बैकडोर डिस्कशंस काफ़ी चल रहे हैं, और ये जो शांति है अभी हुई नहीं है, वर्बल एग्रीमेंट हुआ है, जिसको ईरान ने भी कहा है कि हमारा एग्रीमेंट हो गया है, और यूएस ने इनके जो पूरे ब्लॉक जो एसेट्स थे पिछले 40 साल से ब्लॉक किए हुए थे वो सारे आज खोल दिए हैं। आज की खबर ये है कि वो अनब्लॉक कर दिए हैं। तो 1989 से जो ब्लॉक किए हुए थे सारे आज खोल दिए गए हैं। तो ईरान के पास काफ़ी पैसे आ जाएंगे, और उसके अगेंस्ट ईरान बोल रहा है कि मुझे एटॉमिक पावर नहीं बनना है, और वो एटॉमिक पावर जो भी है वो अब अमेरिका के हाथ में रहेगा। तो ईरान ने अपने ड्रीम्स को गिव अप कर दिया है। तो आपको क्या लगता है, ये एक फोर्स्ड एग्रीमेंट है? अगर ये एग्रीमेंट पिछले अगले 30 दिनों में साइन नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा? दोबारा से नई तरीके की कोई लड़ाई हो सकती है? एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल है जो आ रहा है। मेरे ख्याल से वी हैव टू वेट फॉर नेक्स्ट 30 डेज, तब इसमें कुछ क्लैरिटी आएगी। तो दोस्तों, आप इसके बारे में क्या सोचते हैं ज़रूर कमेंट करके बताएं। आपको लगता है कि ये जो पीस है ये लास्टिंग पीस है, या एक कंट्रोल्ड एक तरीके का कंट्रोल किया गया है, जिससे कि आप कुछ दें कुछ मैं लूँ, कुछ आप, गिव एंड टेक हुआ है इसके अंदर, जिसकी वजह से पीस लाई गई है? कमेंट करके बताएं, ज़रूर बताएं, जिससे पता चलेगा कि आप लोग क्या सोचते हैं। तो दोस्तों, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इस वीडियो को लाइक करें, शेयर करें। मिलता हूं जल्दी दूसरे वीडियो में दूसरे एनालिसिस के साथ। धन्यवाद। In the world of high stake business, we talk about freedom. We in fact talk a lot about freedom, and market freedom, financial freedom, the freedom to innovate. But for the modern CEO, the reality is often opposite. You are tethered to the stock ticker, bound by the expectations of the board, and often a prisoner to your own decision making loop. We call this the invisible ceiling, the point where your intelligence and hard work cannot take you any further because your mind is too cluttered with the noise of the trade. But what if there was a way to achieve a state of strategic liberation, a state where you operate with absolute clarity, where your decisions are not reactive but visionary? Over 7,000 years ago, a roadmap for this exact state was laid out in a dialogue on a battlefield. Today we are looking at Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse 17. It's not just a spiritual mantra, it is the ultimate executive manual for the 21st century. Those whose intellect is merged in Him, whose mind is one with Him, who are established in Him, for whom He is the supreme goal, their sins being dispelled by knowledge, go to the state from which there is no return. Well, this is a quote and translated into English. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel, and I will also know who's watching and who's not. Now let's proceed further. To a CEO, this might sound like a religious abstraction, but let's translate this into leadership language. The words identify 4 pillars of focus. First, intellect. What is the intellect? Your strategic analytical power. Next, mind. Your emotional intelligence and focus. Third, establishment. Your core values and conviction. Fourth, the goal. Your ultimate vision or the North Star. So the Gita suggests that when these 4 are aligned with supreme truth, or in the business terms, a transcendental purpose, you reach a state of no return. In business, that is a definition of the legacy. One of the most striking phrases in this verse is the sin destroyed by knowledge. In a boardroom, we don't use the word sin, but we do use word error. In this context, sin refers to the mental impurities that could cloud judgment. Ego, attachment to a specific outcome, fear of failure, cognitive biases, etc. Think of these as the cognitive debt. Every time you make a decision based on your ego rather than data point, you base on how we have always done it rather than the truth. You accrue debt. This debt slows your company down and it creates a friction. So the Gita says this debt is destroyed by knowledge, not just information. We have plenty of that, but realized knowledge is missing here. This is the ability to see the market, your competitor, your own team exactly as they are, without distorting the lens of your own desires or fears. When knowledge destroys error, liberation begins. The verse ends with bold promise, the path of liberation where there is no rebirth. The spiritual terms, this is the moksha. In the boardroom, this is the high performance flow state. No rebirth means you stop repeating the same mistake. Have you ever noticed that how some companies seems to hit the same wall every 5 years? The same culture issues, the same product, market fit struggles, the same leadership turnover, and that is a cycle of rebirth in business. The strategic liberation means moving past those cycles. It means your leadership has evolved to a point where you are no longer a manager of crisis, but a creator of realities. You have reached a level of clarity where you don't have to go back to the old ways of struggling. You are no longer reacting to the waves. You are the ocean yourself. So how does you apply Gita 5.17 on a Tuesday morning before a merger or a product launch? I have few tips for you. First, fix the intellect. Start your day by detaching from the outcome. Focus entirely on the integrity of the strategy. Next, dissolve your ego. Ask yourself, am I making this choice to be right or to be effective? If it is to be right, that's the sin. And the verse mentions this very clearly. Let knowledge dissolve it. Right? Next is establish the North Star. Ensure your supreme goal isn't just this quarter's earning, but a purpose that provides value to the world. When your goal is supreme, your stamina becomes infinite. True leadership isn't about control, it's about alignment. Chapter 5, verse 17 of Bhagavad Gita teaches us that when our intellect, mind, and faith are fixed on a truth higher than our own, we become liberated from the friction of the corporate world. We move beyond the boardroom. We stop being driven by the fear of loss and start being pulled by the power of vision. This is the strategic liberation. That is the path of the sage leader. The question isn't whether you can afford to learn these lessons. The question is, can you afford the rebirth of your past mistakes, and what happens if you don't? My name is CK, and this has been a look into the timeless wisdom of Gita for the modern executive. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for listening. Before we move on to the next video, a few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.